scheduled August meeting, 2026. We're going to rise to the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll be standing for a moment of silence for all the victims of impaired driving. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We may or may not realize the number of people who do die annually due to impaired driving, and we're going to have a quick presentation this evening. In our public comment period, we will be hearing from Miss Kerry Souza, and Miss Souza is the chief's wife, and she's a representative. I'm going to unfortunately say my memory isn't working, but could Miss Souza please come forward? Refresh my memory. The Warren Prevention Coalition, thank you. I have so many acronyms in my head. Please come forward. You've requested a public comment.
Yes.
And we'd like to have you the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much. Kerry Souza, Chilsett Road.
Maria Orsini, Water Street in Warren.
Like
Thank
I said, we
you.
represent the Warren Prevention Coalition, and we are here to recognize International Overdose Awareness Month, which happens every August. Many of you probably noticed our table on your way into chambers this evening. These are the faces of overdose. These 5 young men and women lost their lives to overdose. What you may not know is that they all have ties to Warren and the East Bay. Some lived here or went to school here or worked here. They all left family and friends behind here. The reason for this display is to remind us that no one is immune to overdose. We feel the pain. That's why it is so important to have conversations with our loved ones, with our children, young, old, it doesn't matter. Make sure they know they have support to find the help they need. In addition to this display, we are hosting 2 separate naloxone trainings. Naloxone, commonly known as Narcan, is a medicine that can reverse an overdose if administered in time. The first training will be held this Thursday for all town employees. You're all invited. And the second will be held on August 27th in the evening at 6 p.m. These will both be held in our office, the prevention office downstairs of this building. The second is open to the public, if I did not say that. Both trainings are free of charge, and everyone that attends will receive a dose or 2 of Narcan. In prevention, our long-term goal is to have no one living dependent on substance. Our short-term goal is to keep them alive until they can make the decision to get help. And then our final event will be a gathering to celebrate life and hope. This will be held at St. Mary of the Bay Church in memory of those who've lost their lives to substance use and in support of those who struggle with addiction and those that are in recovery. This will be held on August 31st at 6 p.m. And again, all are welcome. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. And being someone who corrects myself when I realize I was wrong, if we could please stand for a moment of silence for Alex Flanagan, Kerry Bergren, Jackie Amaral, Evan Zompa, and Casey Wood, victims of overdose. Thank you. Next on our public comment, we have Kathleen Ram, 18 Taddy. Is she here? Hi. How did I butcher your name? Rami, thank you.
Councilors, department heads, Mr. Town Manager, my name is Kathleen Corey Rami. I live at 18 Taddy Avenue. We moved to Warren a year ago, May. We were immediately attracted to this area. Fabulous. I'm here to speak about a letter I received from the Department of Planning and Community Development on Friday regarding 360 Market Street, the current Highlander School. I do realize that this is not on the agenda this evening and it's in its early stages. I would like to request that the council keep a watchful eye on this project. I plan to do the same. I am disheartened by what I learned today from the development director that perhaps zoning and town council have limited input because of Rhode Island General Laws 452437 that bypasses local zoning laws for projects that have 50% of the square feet dedicated to housing. In a nutshell, MIOW LLC will be allowed to build a project that exceeds that which is allowed under Warren zoning R20. I am not against the developing project. I am against the excessive development and the advantages that they are receiving from the Rhode Island general laws. So much for town autonomy. Thank you.
Thank
for-
you.
I reach out to, ma'am, Ms. Rami,
Yes.
you may want to reach out to your local state reps, because they're the ones that write these laws that tie our hands. I totally agree with you 100%, but as long as the state keeps tying our hands, there's not a whole lot we can do.
I just received the letter on Friday and I have a long road ahead.
Okay,
And I actually will be reaching out formally to all of you as well.
okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Mr. Joshua Almeida. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. At the preceding meeting, I was assured on the record that an answer would be rendered. The answer has been silenced. Since then, Warren police officers have continued to stage on private property without written consent. Serious civil rights and public records concerns remain unresolved. Faith in this body has been withdrawn. Warren police officers have continued to stage on private property absent written consent. On the public and official records, the department attempts to conceal this unconstitutional practice by recording stops as occurring within the vicinity of public intersections and road corners. That variance is fatal. Official reports state one location, while the vehicles were in fact stationed on private and religious property, specifically across a coordinated network including Patriot Liquors, AT&T, Liberty Tax, FedEx, Advance America, Monroe Brakes and Mufflers, the Lifespan Building, Child Care Connection, Crossroads Restaurant, Twigs Automotive, Highland Charter School, Sip and Dip Donuts, St. Alexander's Church, St. Mary of the Bay, St. Thomas the Apostle Church, and numerous others. Because staging occurred on private property without express written consent from the current owner of record, and because official reports falsify or misrepresent the actual staging locations, the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine, Wong Sun versus United States, applies in full force. Any and all reports, citations, observations, and evidence derived from these unconsented stops conditionally tainted and inadmissible in any court of law. The official reports fail on their face. In the absence of express written consent from the current owner of record, the staging must cease immediately. The evidence compromises photographs, videos, and the department's own records. Those records show motorists stopped in immediate succession, within minutes of one another, at identified locations. That sequence is evidence in revenue generation, not public safety. I invite the town to prove otherwise through its records, policies, and directives. The pattern of revenue generation practices and selective enforcement measures, including staging on private property and religious property, successive stops within minutes, radar and speed enforcement posts on religious property, seatbelt enforcement, mandatory court costs, even after good driving record dismissals, and the refusal to accept defense filings, has been carried out, secure and maintain federal funding from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in the amount of millions of dollars. This is a scheme pursued to satisfy enforcement quotas and funding criteria that flow into federal funds. Federal monies are being drawn down based on enforcement measures executed in violation of constitutional rights. Taken together, all of these violations constitute an illegal revenue generation scheme. There is no difference. It is a criminal enterprise that bears the flag on its uniform and operates under the color of law. It demands federal investigation and proof to the full extent of the law. The conduct described herein implicates specific federal statutory provisions on the United States law for the record and for public accountability. The applicable federal offenses and their maximum statutory penalties are enumerated as follows. 18 U.S.C. Section 666, theft or bribery concerning programs received federal funding, implicating the misuse of federal and HTSA grant allocations through quota-driven enforcement, maximum penalty, up to 10 years imprisonment, fines, and forfeiture per offense. 31 U.S.C. Section 3729, False Claims Act, implicating the drawdown of federal funds based on false certifications of lawful enforcement operations, maximum penalty, civil penalties ranging from $13,000 to $27,000 per false claim, plus treble damages. 18 U.S.C. Section 1512, tampering with a witness, victim, or informant, obstruction, implicating the destruction, redaction, or withholding of exculpatory dispatch, video, and staging records, maximum penalty up to 20 years imprisonment. 18 U.S.C. Section 241, conspiracy against rights, implicating concerted action by officials to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate citizen in the free exercise of constitutional rights. Maximum penalty up to 10 years imprisonment, up to life imprisonment or death if death results. 18 U.S.C. Section 242, deprivation of rights under color of law, implicating willful deprivations of constitutional protections by officers acting under color of law. Maximum penalty, up to 1 year imprisonment, up to 10 years if bodily injury results, up to life imprisonment or death if death results. 42 U.S.C. Section 1983, civil action for deprivation of rights, implicating individual and municipal civil liability for constitutional violations. Remedy, compensatory damages, punitive damages, and statutory attorney fees under 42 U.S.C. Section 1988. I place this counsel on express notice. On the record, right here, in my hands, I hold a fully prepared federal civil rights complaint. I will amend it freely. Any new violation or party arising tonight or thereafter becomes an additional count or an additional defendant without limitations. The clerk refused to file important documents. Motions for discovery, motions to dismiss, and affidavits were presented and legally filed on the date they were submitted. They were improperly refused and ignored. The proper authorities must immediately review them. The motion for discovery must be granted. The motions and affidavits must be addressed on the record. Furthermore, the public records requests have not been fulfilled within the legal timeframe. They have been met with delay and extensive redaction. Staging locations and their associated records were purposely omitted from the department's reports and responses. That omission violates the law. I demand full compliance within the legal timeframe. I demand production without redaction of any kind. Finally, the courtroom record raises a further question. Persons directed toward good driving dismissals were required to pay mandatory court costs and fees demanded by a magistrate. That dynamic demands scrutiny for coercion, due process, and unlawful extraction. Chief Borges, after 20 years of service, either you do not know the law you swore to uphold, in which case you are unfit to wear the badge, or you know the law and knowingly permit its violation under your command, in which case you are unfit to wear it. Which is it, Chief? When an oath is not upheld, what is the purpose of taking one? Notice carries legal consequence. Any party who without limitation and with knowledge continues to dismiss their oath, continues participating, or permits these violations to persist shall have immunity extinguished to the extent permitted by law. This applies to, but not limited to, warrant police officers, court clerks, the chief, the magistrate, the town administrator. The on-record notice of pending federal civil rights complaint stands. Any new violation or party arising without limitation becomes an additional count or an additional defendant. Continued silence implicates those who turn a blind eye. I await no indefinite future. I demand written answers to every point and a full investigation within 30 days. The response must identify the records reviewed, the official responsible, the authority relied upon, and the corrective action taken. Silence will not be tolerated. Tyranny is the exercise of public office to subjugate constitutional rights for revenue and control. It begins with silence. Let it end here. Thank you.
And you're welcome. And because we follow the Constitution, of course, you're free to come here and speak your mind. Mr. DeSisto, anything you want to add to this?
I do. The gentleman says he's going to file a complaint in federal court. And I think what happens now is that it has to be filed and the proper form will be court and the town will answer that complaint when it's filed.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Almeida. Next, we have interviews. We have an opening still on the Arts and Culture Commission, or two positions actually are available. We have one position available on the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, and we have one position open on the Economic Development Board. Actually, excuse me, 3 positions available on the Economic Development Board. We have, he didn't forget, I've been staring at him.
So we're not going in order?
No. And now we have someone who is here, but doesn't have to get up unless he wants to. He has been the Warren Housing Authority Executive Director. He's been the Town of Warren Finance Director. He's been the Second Story Theater's General Manager and CFO. He's been the State of Rhode Island RIDA Chief Financial Officer. He's been the Town of Warren Manager, and he's done various financial projects all over the world with Coca-Cola. There's a position open on our Budget Committee. Mr. Abruzzi would like to be on it. Is there a
I'll make
motion?
I'll make a motion. to
Everybody,
second
I
that.
want to make a motion.
Michael Abruzzi.
All in favor?
Aye.
I don't
Thank
want
you.
to, I don't want to deprive him if he wants to come up here and speak though.
No, I don't want to hear it. Next, we have,
Look at, he seconded.
unfortunately, we have another position, Juvenile Hearing Board. No applicants, and that is one alternate position available. Then we have Planning Board, 2 alternate positions available. Then we have Tax Board of Assessment Review, 2 positions available. And we have Zoning Board of Review, 1 position available. Please, everyone, we need some participation to run this town. All of these advisory boards are a healthy input of information to the council. Next, we have resignations, and we have a resignation from Economic Development Board Member Donald Mead. We have a resignation from Warren Housing Authority Commissioner Anton Damaso, and we have Arts and Cultural Commission Member Erin D. Thomas.
I'll make a motion, we accept the resignation, send out a letter of recognition and advertise those positions as well as the ones previously that are still vacant.
Sounds good. Is there a second?
We should, just to add to that, we should add.
There you go.
Send a letter to the Warren Housing Authority because that's one of their internal commissioners that they're looking for. That's a resident commission.
They're in the process right now that I think they elections.
So they're aware of
They
it.
have and then already set up the elections, they probably have one now, so our meeting is Monday. So we'll probably find out if there is.
No, I-
Okay, great. Thank you.
Next, we have the acceptance of minutes, and this is from the Tuesday, the 14th of July. I didn't notice any corrections.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have petitions. We have a request for a victualling license, and this is from Masters Express Cafe LLC. Is Miss King? How did I butcher that? Oh. Just look. Tell us a little bit about what you're trying to do.
Open a cafe that have served donuts, espresso, breakfast sandwiches, pastries.
Sounds good. And this is on Medicum Avenue.
Yes,
The old sip and dip.
yes.
Any additional questions of the applicant?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a request for a 1-day entertainment license from E. Jenny K. Flanagan. Hello. How are you?
Good, thank you very much.
This is one of the 250th.
Yeah, this is for part of the 250th and we're going to be closing the street as well. So it's block party. I've already talked to the police chief and the fire chief about it. It's on October 4th. It's going to be on Linden Street and School Street that we're closing between Broad and Washington Street. With the entertainment license application, is there a possibility, because this is part of the 250th program, to get a waiver on the liability insurance requirement?
Mr. DeSisto's making that face that I don't think
That would be
so.
no, okay.
Mr. DeSisto, is that the I don't think so? We recommend it.
Right, okay. So,
You gotta get it.
and the reason why we need to get it is because of the entertainment being amplified, correct?
It's because of an entertainment, which is a gathering. It's not necessarily because of the amplification.
Oh, so
It's a safety, it's
so regardless of whether people are,
an entertainment license requires an insurance binder.
okay, all right.
Are there any questions of the applicant?
I'll make a motion, we approve the 1-day entertainment license pending fire and police approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have another request for a one-day entertainment license from Hadley and Peter Arnold.
I'm Hadley Arnold,
Hello.
21 Linden Street. Request is for entertainment license. I'm not even sure it's actually necessary, but we're inquiring for a wedding and reception.
All right,
Saturday, October 17th.
Mr. DeSisto, a wedding on private property.
So, one concern was the outdoor cocktails.
What is, what would you like to know? Or what can I address?
Typically, if there's, going to be an indoor event, you don't need the entertainment license. Except for the fact that cocktails are gonna be outside.
So what mitigates that, or what do I need to do?
I
I'm a
got a
little
question.
confused on that. Say I want to have a party at my house and
Gentlemen, you have questions?
yes, I'm asking.
Feel free
Well, in case I
to,
want to have a party at my house.
well, you could.
And I,
go through
you
the
know, say
chair
I'm
and-
gonna have a little clam boil, and
Ask
have
Mr.
like
DeSisto.
15 or 20 relatives over. And I put a couple of picnic tables out there and I want to give them beers and wine. I gotta come here and get a liquor license?
You know, but, knowing the people you invite. Be at least detail.
Okay,
Licensed, insured, certified bartenders are hired, as well as the caterers. It's a fenced property. It'll have a little tent over. It'll be pretty clear. It's just our guests, and the certification requires a bartender to stop serving well before the end of the party and not serve anyone who seems to have had too much.
Would it be best advised to get the entertainment license? You're just asking questions, correct? You're not asking whether you need it or not. You're here asking for an entertainment
Yes,
license.
if I need it, I'm here to address whatever comes up.
It's a belt and suspenders approach. So we always follow the advice of our solicitor. Some council members don't, and I see no reason. So is there a motion to approve?
Can I ask a question?
You
first?
absolutely
Is the
can.
homeowners, does the homeowners cover this?
Well, I haven't seen the,
Policy.
I haven't seen the big sheet policy.
I think it's a multi-unit building, correct?
It is not. It's a single family.
Oh, it's a
dwelling.
single family dwelling, okay, yeah. Oh.
And you're inviting guests, and entertainment license would cover that, and you'd be able to get your insurance binder, and you'd have a great wedding. Any other questions? Mr. Trombley?
Not really a question, just more of a statement generally is that I think I'm not going to judge whether or not you need it or don't need it, but if you're asking for it, since you are asking for it, I think it's a perfectly appropriate use. Congratulations on the wedding, and I look forward to approving this.
Thank you for that clarification.
Okay, so there's a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the one-day entertainment license for 21 Linden Street on.
Second Emma.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next, we have an additional request that wasn't on the agenda. Oh, no, it is on the agenda. Excuse me. Hi, Sarah Weed is here. That's what the difference is. So you're here soliciting for the family that wants to host the block party on Canario Drive,
That's exactly
Canario and
right.
Eisenhower. And this
Yes.
is part of the 250th as well.
Yes,
And you've already spoken to the police and fire since you're the chair of the committee.
that's true.
Are there any questions of the applicant?
We don't have, there's not gonna be any outside entertainment, so we don't need it.
In the cars, but it's not amplified, so.
No,
No,
that's
that's
for the
the-
wedding.
the
You're
wedding.
reading
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Put your glasses on.
I-
This is the one to close off. Yeah, if you don't have any, I just want to make sure if you need an entertainment license, we give you one, so.
No, we do not need an entertainment license. Thank
Okay.
you.
Make
So
a
there's a
motion-
motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Weed.
Thank you.
Next, we have a public hearing, and it's the first public hearing of the evening. And this is for chapter 32 zoning, article 8, zoning district use regulations, section 3255. Wholesale business and storage uses, self-storage facilities allowed by special use permit in certain zones, the second reading. I see the solicitor, the attorney for the applicant is here. Stanguila, please come on down.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of council. Last time we were here for first reading and council appropriately referred this to the planning board for a recommendation, which I believe has been given.
We have it.
And we'd ask for passage tonight.
Well, one thing I would like the council to think about is passing this for this specific applicant. I don't see any reason for us to broaden the use in the rest of the town.
I don't think we can do that. It's spot zoning.
Well,
So, you know, years ago, what the town did on actually 32 occasions, John perhaps remembers this. You do these so-called contract zones. That's considered now in the law to be a spot zone and therefore unlawful. This proposal doesn't do that. It actually makes it so it's a special use permit in certain zones. It's not the entire town. It's in your business, commercial, and industrial zones. That's what the proposal is. Also, I think speaking with staff, you might want to consider putting in rural business too, but that's the situation.
all right, that's, thank you. I apologize. Again, that was what I was referring to. Instead of extending this into rural business, so I misspoke. I'd like to see how the council feels because no one has come and requested rural business.
Right.
I don't see why we right now need to put self-storage potential in our rural business district
That
versus
doesn't
keeping
affect
it.
This application.
Yeah, it was not, it's not,
part of
wasn't in
this.
what we passed.
Correct.
And you know, I
misspoke.
I read the planning board's decision and discussion, and I agree with it. And it raised one question to me. It says eventually they're gonna come up with the standards for the special use, and I'm gonna get back to what I said last meeting. If you create something that requires a special use, but you don't put in the standards, I'm 99.9% sure that the state laws that have changed make that if you don't have the conditions, it becomes a permitted use. So I don't want to do one without the other.
That's correct, yeah.
If you don't have, so in other words, before this goes live and changes in those zones, I want the standards there. Because then if we don't have the standards, then anybody can come in and it's permitted by right if we don't have the requirements. That's my one concern. And I'm not looking for any major standards, but just something in there so it keeps that from
Okay,
happening.
the applicant has, probably want to hear from your planner,
Okay.
but the applicant has, in connection with this
Yeah.
application, correct me if I'm wrong, forwarded along some proposed standards for your special use permits.
And along that right there, that, I mean, self-storage, really have a problem with it. I think it's one of the least effective uses of land. However, I'm not saying I'm opposed to it, but we do want to have some things in there to make sure that we don't end up the self-storage capital of the world, because you don't really generate a whole lot of tax dollars on self-storage.
Or jobs. So
Or jobs.
from my perspective of not expanding the additional zone was to give that rural business district the chance and opportunity to possibly create businesses that have more employment than self-storage. And that's not what you're asking for.
No, we're not asking for rural business at
That's
all.
what I meant to say originally in my opening statement about the
Yeah.
specific
The-
to your
Sure,
request
Sure.
and the permitted uses.
You know, and just, if I may, just for a moment, bear in mind, all we're asking for is to be allowed to apply for a special use permit before the zoning board. So many of these concerns all these concerns you're raising would actually be aired before the zoning board with a full set of plans and all that a zoning board considers. With regard to standards, I submitted a set of standards to the planning board. I think they're pretty generic and they're pretty they're not controversial. I've also shared it with with your solicitor, and he could certainly opine on that. My biggest concern is that, as you know, there is a self-storage facility there right now.
Correct.
And my client wants to pump money into Warren to expand it. It's just a mere expansion. And I guess what I'm asking is I'd like to move this along if at all possible. I understand the council's position, of course, and we'll do what the council wants us to do. But I would ask that you pass it tonight so the zoning ordinance can be amended. And then certainly you could come back and amend the amendment to the zoning ordinance with specific standards to address Mr. Hanley's concerns And I can also, as I've already provided to the solicitor, what I think, if I read you all correctly, what I think your issues might be in terms of standards.
Yep, I can see them now and here. There is a whole list of standards sent by the planner.
I'd like to
Good.
hear from Ms. Policastro if she would like to come over, and our planner. Thank you, Mr. Anguilla, if you're done for now. Hello.
So, to speak to both the council's concern, the planning board and your client. Yes, I apologize. How's your first or last?
It's my first,
Okay.
but you can use files.
Okay.
Everybody else.
All right. So I was gonna say Mr. Fausto, that's why. My concern is that standards that were provided were a good template to start from. However, they left, I felt, as did the planning board and my chair and vice chair here with me this evening, too many loopholes. We're constantly trying to find the balance between land use and general characteristics of a community. Like Councilman Hanley, I have seen saturation of storage facilities around the state. And some of them are very box store looking, not the best land use, but also aesthetically not what the town of Warren would want to see in most areas, separate from your client, which is already has some storage. So what we did was I was tasked by the planning board to come up with some language as it relates to Rhode Island general law. Obviously, Rhode Island general law as it relates to self-storage is very broad sweeping. So myself and Ms. Flanagan looked at abutting communities and provided two examples, one from Massachusetts and one from Rhode Island as it relates to tightening the definition of what self-storage is. I also agree that we should also look at open air storage. I think you're going to see more of requests for people to store, whether it's construction equipment, boats, landscaping materials. And so I don't want to leave any loopholes or miscommunication. And so I believe that we should have tighter standards as it relates to self-storage, not just from a land use standpoint, but more importantly from an aesthetic standpoint.
Any questions, Mr. Trombley?
Less a question, more just a statement of where I'm at on this particular issue. As a matter of public policy, I'm just generally dubious about the claim that we need more self-storage facilities in our community. I asked at the last council meeting for the justification, the claim that was made that Warren's deficient in its amount of self-storage, and I didn't receive this in my packet, but I received it tonight. I've had brief time to go over it, and it's just not very persuasive to me. And the fact that we don't have any standards firmly set in terms of how we would adjudicate the special use applications, I'm not prepared to support this going forward tonight. I agree with Councilman Hanley that there are a lot of concerns that I have about this, and I just can't move this forward.
Mr. Rego?
I don't have any issues with, so basically we would be doing it. If we approve this, it would be a spot zone, but yet.
No.
It would be the permission to go to zoning board of appeals
I
for
was
a
thinking-
special use permit.
I was speaking about the specific applicant with his application to all of the permitted zones. In my head, I was thinking of just one person, meaning one request. My position was, it's also possible for us to expand the use into the rural business district.
Which is not.
That's what I'm saying. I really wouldn't like to see that. Me personally, putting it out there for all of you to follow.
So basically, we
Mr. Anguilla.
would be okay with this here, but we would want to send it to the planner and to zoning for further review.
This would go to the zoning board of appeals for this particular use, of which the planning commission did vote favorably to make a recommendation to council. That being said, they would like to see us clean up the ordinance language as it relates to Rhode Island general law, definitions, and design, signage, all aesthetics, facade, things of that nature.
Mr.
I
Anguilla
don't know
is
if this was
encouraging
considered
us.
spot
Yeah, I
zoning,
have a
just be
question.
going to zoning for special use permit, would it?
But I have to
Right,
suggest-
you're next.
I think that
So just to bring everybody up to speed, Mr. Anguilla is encouraging us to move this as fast as possible for his client, but we have more questions. Ms. Cronin?
So while
I feel likely to support this particular request that's before us tonight, or to approve it going through the next step of the process. Tonight is not the time where we are going to write, identify, approve, go through the process of creating these standards.
Correct. This
So-
is just to say that Mr. Aguila, I got it. His client can go before the zoning board of appeals and apply for a special use permit for this particular site.
So by having this discussion tonight and by agreeing, it would seem as a council that we do need to create stronger standards, or create standards for our ordinance. What is that process?
Yeah, actually, can I make a suggestion on this? Because I agree with what Mr. Hanley said in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably want to do them in tandem, and you're not ready to do that now. You have an applicant that is anxious to move forward. The difficulty that the applicant runs into is that what is there now for self-storage is what's known as a prior non-conforming use. It's grandfathered in. You have a provision in your zoning ordinance now, which is part of public hearing too, which addresses the specific provision. You cannot expand a non-conforming use more than 25% of the original thing. That's the holdup. What they want to do is expand what they have, but they want to do it for more than 25%. That's why public hearing 2 is on. Your council president said, gee, you know, I'd like to take a look at it here at this, but I'm a little concerned with the rest of the town. The way to address that is to take a look at public hearing 2. This is not a provision, 25% maximum. Some towns have it, but most don't. So I think the best way to go forward on this, to accommodate all the concerns that were raised, is to continue this out until you can see the specific criteria for the special use permit that Ms. Policastro will give to you, so you can take a look at it on a broader scale. And for this applicant, you take a look at public hearing 2. For that expansion, you get specific for this site.
So that's what I was thinking, approve PH2 where they will be able to proceed
Yes.
and continue PH1 till next month, and we can get the conditions, the planner and the planning board can get together and get the conditions, and then we can incorporate that next month.
That's correct.
And let's wait till we have the second public hearing.
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Anguilla, do you want to have another go at it? And then we're going to hear from the public, because
Sure.
this is a public hearing.
Sure. As I understand it, what the solicitor is suggesting is that you pass the second part of the ordinance. And you'll recall way back when I first came before you, people were asking me, why are you doing both sides, two ordinance amendments? And this is kind of a little bit of what I had in mind,
That's
actually.
the reason.
Yeah.
Correct.
So you pass that second,
Possibly. We're going to discuss the second public hearing.
a fair point and well taken. Hypothetically, you pass the second one. We then get to go and submit our application to the zoning board with regard to the use table itself. Okay, you're going to want to have, I think, your planner along with your solicitor, and I'm willing to help however I can, use my meager talents to get a set of criteria, which you will then consider in your September 14th meeting. I think it's September 14th.
That sounds accurate.
But it doesn't stop us from going before the zoning board based on the Second Amendment, which I propose.
Keeps you moving in the right direction
That's-
after tonight's meeting.
And quite honestly.
For you and your client, as
That's
well as the
right.
town.
And that's what my client is looking for, is just to go.
We're helping you deal with the 25% expansion.
Right.
So for those of you who don't remember or know, Mr. Anguilla was also once our solicitor. So
Many years ago.
you hang out in Rhode Island long enough and everybody's in one chair at some point. Thank you. And now I'm going to open up any other questions from the council?
So the eliminating.
Ms. Cronin.
Eliminating the 25% limit to expansion of non-conforming uses means they could just double the size or triple the size?
That's not
With-
what we're gonna be doing this evening. We're gonna be going to the second public hearing and we're gonna be
That's the-
discussing
yeah,
that. That's their request right now.
Okay, we're still back on this one.
PH1 or?
We're on PH
We're on
one.
PH1.
All we were saying was what PH two could
just to
hypothetically give this client.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
just to
gotcha.
clarify.
I mean, give
what-
his client.
What our plans are is to increase it by 36%.
Okay.
Okay? We hit a roadblock in trying to do that under your present ordinance because you have this 25% cap. In my very humble opinion, that cap could be successfully challenged in court. Leave that as it may, okay? So by doing PH2, okay, your use table doesn't change tonight, but you may want to consider why this use table doesn't have self-storage.
Why don't we take things
Yeah, let's-
in the order of the agenda? Let's
PH1,
hear from the
PH1.
public on PH one. And we will ask the public for input. Is there anyone from the public who would like to comment on this issue? It's an opportunity. It's a public hearing. All right.
I will
Hearing-
make a motion, we continue the public hearing to the next regularly scheduled council meeting.
Good motion.
Second.
All in
The
favor?
purpose, I'm sorry, the purpose of the continuance is so
We can, the planning board and the solicitor can come up with some of the requirements or for the
Standards.
standards for the special use permit.
And that's in the motion.
Yeah, they're all gonna work together.
And that's in the motion.
Yep.
And the motion is seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're going to move on to the ever much talked about public hearing two. Mr. Anguilla, the opportunity is yours.
I don't want to take up too much of your time.
This is your opportunity to
No,
explain now at the
Sure,
right time what
sure.
you want to do.
You have,
continue
in
it.
the town of Warren, you have a footnote in your ordinances, which limits an expansion of a non-conforming use to 25%. Bear in mind, understanding that it always goes in front of the zoning board of review. We simply ask that 25% arbitrary cap be eliminated. So the zoning board could then consider a special use permit for this problem.
Which we kind of spoke about in the previous public hearing, but now it's specific. Mr. DeSisto, anything you would like to add to the public hearing two, chapter 32 zoning, article 7, non-conforming development, section 3274 extension. This eliminates the 25% limit to expansion of non-conforming uses.
No, as I said earlier, some communities have this type of a limitation. Most don't. It's up to the zoning board as to what is the appropriate expansion of non-conforming uses. Some other limiting language, by the way, there's some other limiting language in the ordinance as to the expansion of a non-conforming use. So, I think that that would be the one preferable to go forward with if the council wants to do it. Again, that goes back to the council president's original comments that, you'd like to see things limited to this application. It would be limited to this. But other non-conforming uses in the town will be able to take advantage of it too, if they want to expand the non-conforming use to in excess of 25% of the current use.
Questions from the council, Mr. Hanley?
Anthony, do you agree that the number is arbitrary and wouldn't stand up in court? I'm saying just because Kerry had a little concern, maybe if we raised it to 50% or something like that. Do you think that would stand up in court, or do you think it's arbitrary and it would?
Yeah, there's a question as to whether or not, you have to have some type of a mechanism to expand a non-conforming use. That's under case law. The question is whether or not you can have some type of a number saying you can't go beyond this. It's not a question that has been answered by the courts yet. There is some questions as to whether or not it would be upheld. So it's always a question. But you have a zoning board, and you expect the zoning board to handle this in the appropriate fashion.
Mr. Tromley? Questions? Mr. Rego.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Please, go right ahead.
So we're eliminating the 25%. We're bringing it to the zoning board to make that decision. They have the authority to put in the percentage that they feel is appropriate for that.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
In other words, the zoning board could say, you're asking for a 75% increase. We think that's too intensive. Under the criteria that we have in the zoning ordinance now, we deny the application.
Ms. Cronin.
In a case like that, would it be appropriate for the zoning board to say, but we'll give you 50%? Or does it require the applicant to come back for another go round?
No, a zoning board has the ability to say that, you know, we're going to grant the application on the condition that instead of you've asked 75%, it's granted on the condition that the expansion be no more than 40%.
Okay,
They could do that.
all right.
Before I open it to the floor, Mr. Tromley, anything?
I'm just a little dubious to this as well, and it's nothing against the particular applicant coming before us or anything of that nature. To me, it just kind of feels like this sort of the nose of the camel coming into the tent. If you let the nose in, then the head, why not? And then the neck, and then before you know it, the whole camel's in there. Or a previous council put a 25% limit on it, thinking that that was a good way to limit the amount of non-conforming uses that can expand in town, or the scope of it. I don't see any reason to challenge the logic of it, to say that, you know, there are uses that are in scope should remain as they are. And also, I'm just curious, Tony, if someone went before the zoning board and said today, I want a 25% expansion in my non-conforming use. And then they put in another application, let's say it was granted, and then the next day they went and said, we want another 25% increase. Is that permissible
No,
it's
under
not.
this?
So they get 25%.
It's called stacking.
You
Yeah,
can't stack.
yeah. So,
My only concern is when we talk about logic, and I think Mr. Hanley alluded to this, why 25%? Why not 20? Why not 30? There's no objective criteria for that. I think any appeal would be based on that. In this instance, at least the zoning board gets to say, you get this expansion, we've got these criteria, you can meet them or not.
I don't know. I don't like not having a number in that. And I'm certainly happy to instruct our planner or our solicitor to develop a rationale as to what number is appropriate if they don't feel 25% is appropriate, or just reach some calculation. But I just don't feel comfortable not having a number there, at least some cap. So that's where I stand on this.
Thank you. Everybody good? So again, the question to the public, anyone want to speak on this issue? It's a public hearing. This is your opportunity. All right,
I'll make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, what's the will of the council? Mr. Handley,
I'm gonna make
please.
a motion. I'm not overly concerned with the percentage, because we do have the oversight of the zoning board on this, and there's gonna be certain requirements that they have to meet. I was just worried why it was a 25, and if we go to 50. I don't really have a problem doing it as written without a percentage allowed, because it's gonna go to the zoning board. You know, you have to have faith in your zoning board. If you don't have faith in your zoning board, then you should probably appoint a new zoning board. And I have faith in our zoning board, so I'm gonna make a motion. We approve PH2 as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
No.
Mr. Tromley is in the opposition.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ordinance 1, Chapter 12, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Stopping, Standing, and Parking, Section 12-66. This is the designated fines, second reading. This is our approach at increasing the fines that haven't been touched for years in town. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion. We approve second reading of the fine increase for motor
Second.
vehicles and traffic.
Any discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have Old Business 2, Chapter 10, mooring regulations, mooring permit fees. This is the first reading. Mooring permit fees shall be determined by the town council based on the recommendation of the harbor master. The harbor master has given a recommendation. The annual fees for vessels 25 feet in length add an additional $8 per foot for vessels over 25 feet. Noting the following fees are recommended by the Harbor Commission. So, Mr. Silva, could you come on over to the mic and explain your position on this?
Yeah, there are two that I feel are too high. The mooring application fee, this is just to get on a list that you might be
Okay.
on for 10 years. We've always charged 25, that's in line with the rest of, and we checked other towns.
So this is on page 6.
I'm
It's
sorry?
Page 6.
On page 6
The mooring application fees,
is
recommendation here says $40.
$40.
And you're
And I'm
saying,
feeling it's too high. My recommendation that I put forth was to stay at 25. And it somehow got raised to.
Is this annual or it's a one-time fee until you? get-
One-time fee to get on a list that you, again, might be on for 10 years.
and is it refundable or added towards
Well-
the,
I mean, we could set that, that's not the way it is now.
Joe,
Mr. Rago?
Joe, could you tell me about how many applicants do we have?
Are you talking to me or Mr. Silva?
You're both Joe, right?
Correct.
Problem, huh?
That's why we use,
Mr. Silva.
Yes, sir.
Well, how many applicants do we have annually that put in,
That's not a number I have it handy. I can find out.
50, 100, 200?
Under 50,
Under 50?
maybe 50.
$25 to get on a waiting list, that sounds reasonable. 40 does sound a little high.
And then
I look at it like if you want to have skin in the game and you put $40 down, your $40 are in. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with keeping it at $25. I do think if you have 50 people that, you know,
So I'm reading this now,
Well,
it's 25 to get on and then $10 a year.
there's an
mean-
annual fee to stay on the list.
Correct.
Which
Okay.
has never been done.
That's,
It's
I think
going to
that's,
be now that we're on the online program or going to the online program. In order to stay on a list, you have to pay. And again, going to $25 annually to stay on a list that you might be on for 10 years.
See, I look at this as a very useful tool because you're responsible for the list. When
Correct.
people come in and there's 50 people, you say, well, you're 51. You're saying that this seems to be a heavy economic burden. I look at it as a very good way of measuring out the people who really want to be in or not. So if somebody really wants to be on the list, they pay the money, they stay in touch with you every year, they give the $10, and when the day,
$10.
or whatever.
right, it's
Yeah.
going up to
All right.
25.
Let me speak broadly. The money in these issues really doesn't matter to me in regards to being on a list.
Correct.
Because to me, it's the skin in the game. So if somebody can't afford $40 to be on a list, they probably are going to end up having a hard time with voting. So I think it would help you
Well, we read
keeping
them
the
out
list.
fast, Joe, but
Well, it would
Excuse
keep
me,
the
Mr.
list manageable. I don't know. I mean, if it's too low,
With the
we
software,
haven't
Joe,
charged a dime and the lists currently are useless. I've called 25 people to fill one mooring.
that's my point. If somebody
If
is,
these people had to
committed
pay $10
every year.
annually, they might be dropping off the list.
right,
They
and with
wouldn't
this,
respond.
with the software, I'm sure you can put in if they pay, it renews them. If they don't, it drops them off the list. It could all
Right.
be just
If they
done
don't
with a
pay, they
stroke
get
of-
dropped off.
Right, it could just be a stroke of a key. Paid, okay, not paid, they go off
Right.
the list.
But I
When
mean,
does
if you're
this-
on a list, if you're on a list for 10 years waiting for a kayak back, and you're paying $25 a year, it starts to,
well, that's why I was thinking that it should be accumulative towards the ultimate end cost.
I think what the president is saying is that if you pay 40 initially to get on the list and then $25 a year to stay on the list, let's say it takes 5 years, that would be you paid. Oh, got my math, 125 plus 40, which is 165. That amount that you've paid would go towards
Your
the
first First year.
your first year's actual mooring fees. That's what I think the president is proposing.
That's complicated.
How do you
hell out
feel
of it.
about that?
You know, Joe,
An idea.
We can do anything that you guys ask us to do.
Mhm.
I just think if we charge $10 a year, it keeps the list real.
Okay,
People will not pay, I mean, there are a lot of people that, I sold my boat 10 years ago, but they stayed on the list because we were not updating the list. This is just a little something that they have to pay to, you know, I mean, there are people that are keeping moorings because they don't want boats in front of their house. I mean, we have all kinds of.
I'm not gonna, you're not hurting me personally. I gave my input. Ms. Cronin, do you have anything you'd like to add?
It's the,
And
this-
clearly, we'll do it any way that you guys,
It was just a recommendation.
I just, my personal opinion is I thought they were high. We're in line with what many other towns are doing. I did spend a good bit of time checking, you know, the differences and whatnot. All the other changes are pretty much in line with what I had proposed.
so Joe, you're recommending the mooring application fees be changed and kept at $25?
25 or a
And
more
then 10
modest
and then 10
increase,
per
maybe
year.
30.
when does this program start?
We're close. But I have to wait until these are approved because I can't charge these new amounts. So I can't go live until we have,
Right, it's gonna be for next season.
oh no, we're gonna go live as soon as this is,
This will be retroactive towards people.
No.
the system won't go live until I have a second reading on
Until
the
you can
amounts.
populate what the cost is gonna be.
I have
But it's
to,
also,
they're waiting to put these costs in the system right now. So I'm gonna have them put what's decided tonight in the system. But until we have the second reading, I can't go live.
but
with it.
Mr. Silva, correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody's already paid for a slip at the town dock.
Correct.
You're not gonna increase the fees this year on that slip.
Not this year,
That's what.
Yeah.
but if somebody wants to,
What I
but if
asked,
somebody wants to
it's going to
apply
go
for
into,
for next
mooring,
year.
it's
we're gonna
going to
increase
go
the
into
fee this
effect
year.
next year.
Well, it'll go into effect immediately.
I'm confused.
And do you have all of your applicants' information? So as soon as you input the fees that we approve tonight, you can go live on everything. You have all the names, the contacts, the payment.
They will do that online themselves as soon as we go live.
Well, this is the first reading,
Yes.
number one, so it's not
I have to
happening
have a
tonight.
second, right.
It's gonna be a second. I need clarification in regards to your term of the word live. If somebody has a slip at the town dock and they paid, like, let's say $500, they're not gonna have an increase this year.
No,
So
but if
help me
somebody,
understand how I'm
He's
wrong saying
saying,
you don't
once
go
this
with-
goes
somebody-
live, if you file for a mooring waiting
Oh,
list,
so
you're
there is-
gonna pay, that's
They
gonna
will
be
pay the new
immediate
rate.
once
So
that
there are
goes live.
some
Correct.
components of this
that will go.
that will go now.
Right.
Mostly this will be applied
Next
to next
year,
year.
Stuff
Thank
will
you.
increase next year.
Okay, any other questions of the comments for the,
I have a question. Oh,
Mr.
sorry.
Rigo and then
Go
Mr.
ahead,
Trombley?
let Derek go first.
Mr. Trombley,
Thank you, Mr. Rigo. Mr. President,
you're up.
Just to recollect my memory, we have a new software. We have a new program that's tracking all of
Being
these.
built as we speak.
It's being built as we speak. There's a cost associated with that to the town, correct?
Correct.
So the idea with raising these mooring costs
It was,
is not punitive. It's not punishment. It's not a revenue generator. It's to help offset the cost of this new system. Is that fair to say?
it was a one-time fee of $450.
Well, but these prices are being changed. They're being increased tonight, going forward. Correct?
Yes.
Yes. And that will, when they're in the system, they'll be tracked better. It'll be processed faster. People who are delinquent aren't going to remain on the list. So it's going to be a much better system that
And
they're
there's
paying for.
real-time tracking.
There's real-time tracking. So I understand what you're saying. And I think that the president makes a good point that what you pay should ultimately go to that final cost to stay on the program. You
Okay.
seem to disagree with that. Why?
Just wondering how we're gonna manage it through the system.
Is
I don't know
that
if it's part of the system.
system? That's something.
That'll be something that'll have to get.
You don't want to make things
programmed in.
But yeah,
complicated.
but that,
We're gonna be complicating
I'm
the,
not sure if it's that complicated. If somebody's on the list and they give you $25.
I
and it
understand the math of it.
Okay, so how is it
The
complicated?
system does it. We don't get involved in payments anymore.
Okay, so how would it be complicated if at the end
Software
of
for-
5 years, that
We'll
person
have
is
to
giving you 100,
reprogram the software to make that adjustment.
or you could just make a note and somebody who's on the list for 5 years, you already know that's $125.
I'm afraid what Mr. Silva is saying is.
Mr. President, may I make a suggestion that?
Yes.
That I work with the harbor master
Mhm.
and the software company and ask them these questions as to what we can and cannot do with the software. And I understand that what the council is looking for. If you pay, it's almost like putting money in the bank, right? And then by the time your number comes up, you've already paid for whatever your first year, so to say. I can work with the harbor master and find out from the software company if that is a possibility.
I think we
Mr.
should.
Rego.
I can find out quickly with a phone call.
That's fine, but what I would recommend, because what we're looking for is modest increase. We're not looking to generate $1 million with this. So if you're good with, instead of 25, bring it down 40 to 30, I would be good with that. And then the $10, just bring it up to 15, that we just have a little modest increase. As far as what Joe says, I think he has good intentions, but I think when you make things complicated, I think it's worse. So I would just rather keep it simple.
right, and not only that, but those fees are just for the waiting list. Look at all the other fees that we're increasing. That's what's gonna, the software covers all of that stuff too.
Right, if you think about how my application was as relief to the applicant. That's all. The person who is paying to be on the
I
list.
understand what you're saying.
That's all it
Maybe
was.
a simple thing for them to do.
Again, it
maybe
has to
difficult.
have 3 people support. I've already vetted it enough
Yeah, that's
to
too
realize that
complicated.
it's,
That's too
I'm not gonna
complicated.
die on this hill.
I want to
Um,
make a motion to change the mooring application fee. We had put 40 to change it down to 30.
Well, let's start at the first page.
Well, let's change, if this is the only change,
Yeah,
then we can
well, there's
approve
just
the
no
whole thing.
changes.
Oh, you're changing the corrections. I'm sorry.
He's
Yeah,
only
Yes.
changing these.
Yeah, take the motion on the corrections, please.
So again, I just made a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. And then I make a
We
motion
changed
to
from-
change.
With clarity, we changed from the 40 to 30.
So you're doing this separately, the renewal.
First, he's making the changes.
And then we'll approve the whole thing.
Then we'll approve the whole thing. So the first change was from $40 to 30. That was the mooring application fee. And all in favor on that
Aye.
motion that
Aye.
was seconded? Aye.
And I make a motion, change the waiting list fee, renewal fee. We had $25, bring it down to 15.
Is there a
Second.
second? Discussion. Ms. Cronin,
No,
you know what we're doing.
I know exactly what we're doing. I don't know why he just didn't do them all as one.
Because these are the only 2 we're changing.
Okay,
Now we're going to do it all as one.
I got you. I get it.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now,
I'll make a motion, we change the mooring permit fees as presented to the council under O2.
is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
as amended, obviously.
Okay. And are we going to do the private and non-resident and the town dock fee and the commercial dock fee?
I
And
believe
then we
that's
just
all
voted
part of
on it.
O2. We just approved all of
Okay,
that.
so they're not separate.
Nope.
Thank you. I didn't mean to complicate things. Just
I can still ask
discussion.
the question. I can find out.
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
They don't want to do it.
Complicated.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have chapter 3, animals and fowls.
I think we mean a different kind of foul, but maybe we don't.
I think it's with a W, unless these animals are
Unless the animals swear.
foul. Any dog, this is Article 2, dogs, Section 3-31, impoundment fees. The fee, it's the first reading, the fee will go from $10 to $25 for a foul dog. Any discussion? Is there a motion?
Are we gonna vote on the whole thing or are you gonna?
That's the only change.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion, we increase the fees from 10 to 25 under impoundment fees.
is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have violation notices and charges. This is an unlicensed dog first offense will be $50 from 25. A vicious dog from 10 to 20. A vicious dog harm to another domestic animal, $15. A vicious dog bites a human each year. And what's is the desisto? What does it mean when it says the vicious dog bites human each year?
They're only allowed one bite a year.
Yeah, you get 1 free bite.
Oh, all right, from 20 to $30. And a dog waste non-removal fee is from 25 to 50. Miss Cronin likes that.
Let me just say something about that dog.
Go
waste.
right ahead.
Yeah, I got these signs I buy from Amazon. It says, "Don't poop in my yard."
Mm,
Now I can add to those signs $50 if you do, so hopefully that'll help.
great added input.
I'm looking at this and I'm just a little confused. To have an unlicensed dog, you're gonna pay $50, but if your dog bites somebody, we're only gonna charge you 30?
And what's
There's some liability, by the way. With the dog bite, there's the civil penalty, but there's also a negligence component to it. So
So if the
That's-
dog keeps biting you, would that fine then go towards the,
no. No, but it escalates on it. By the way, your homeowner's policy covers dog bites.
okay, it's not a joking matter. But sitting here. Ladies and gentlemen, what would you like to do with these increases of the fines that haven't been touched since
I will make a motion to approve
1967?
the fine increases under section 3-39.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, first bite's free. Next, correspondence.
No, the first bite is
First bite,
not free.
that's
The
right.
first bite still costs you $30.
We have the department head reports. We have the letter from the state of Rhode Island, State Traffic Commission regarding the pedestrian safety study for the existing crosswalk located in the vicinity of the Torreston Mill. We have a letter from the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management. This was what I asked for, and the Palmer River is going to be closed for shell fishing because of E. coli and fecal. And then we have a letter from the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee.
I'd like to pull that.
Okay.
Looks like they're expiring and Mr. Rego and I talked and he had some
Well,
thoughts on it.
let's pull it and take a motion on passing all correspondence. Well, correspondence, C1, 2, and 3.
I'll make a motion, we pull C4 and file C1, C2, and C3.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There you go. Mr. Bolster, you're on the Warren Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. You'd like to continue this for another period of time. I think the council would like you to go for another year. And is there any discussion on that?
No, I think, and it should be under the, work with the planner, under the direction of the planner.
And I think they have a close relationship now.
We have been, yeah, she's been great.
There you go. And so we'll, this is an ad hoc committee, and Mr. DeSisto, is this proper this evening that we can just allow this committee to continue? Or
Yes.
do we have to, okay, so
I'll make a motion to continue for another year under the,
guidance of the
Right.
planner.
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Yep.
There you go, Mr. Bolster. Next, we have old business, discussion and action. And all-
Mr. President.
Yes.
Before we go on to old business, I was informed that there are some members of the Harbor Commission that would like to address the council concerning the ordinance that was just discussed. The mooring regulations and mooring permit fees. I don't know if. you-
That we already acted on?
That we've already done, yes. That should.
Who,
go back to that.
It would have been good if somebody raised a hand. Who wants to speak on an issue we already voted on? Did I miss you? Or did you put, I didn't see anything, sorry.
I'm Brock Singwald, I'm on the Harbor Management Commission. We just wanted to clarify for accuracy's sake, point, that this ordinance language says that these recommendations, this is the recommendation of the Harbor Commission, all these new increased fees, none of those new increased fees were recommended by the Harbor Commission. We wrote you a letter in March recommending that all the fees stay the same. Based on our review of all the other fees in all the neighboring towns. We met with Councilman Arrigo about this and some of his budget committee people. So this was, I don't know who is the one that added all these additional fees into the ordinance, but it wasn't at the recommendation of the Harbor Commission. And the ordinance language shouldn't say that the Harbor Commission recommended these fees for 2026.
Well, we noted.
I'm reading it right here at the top. Mooring permits shall be determined by the town council based on the recommendation of the Harbor Commission. Means we set the fees where we want. You can recommend
No,
higher
that-
or low. You can recommend higher or lower, but we can do whatever we want.
But the next sentence says the fees for 2026 these are the fees for 2026 recommended by the Harbor Commission.
It's an error.
That's not true.
Okay, so we can,
Just fix it.
yeah, we'll redact that from the record. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Okay, thank you. Mr. DeSisto, does that need to be put into the form of a motion?
No, I don't think so. What you need to do though is just have it corrected for the next.
For the second reading?
For a second.
And correct the minutes.
And correct the minutes.
Yeah.
As long as the minutes show that the correction was made, they should be correct. Okay, now we have discussion and action. An authorization for the town manager to sign a contract extension with Power Options under the Rhode Island Energy Aggregation Program of the Rhode Island League of City and Towns. Hello, Mr. Sullivan.
Good evening, Mr. President and members of the council. If you recall, sometime last fall, we had a discussion about this program and to continue we currently have a contract under this program, which is run by the Rhode Island Leagues of Cities and Towns for our energy costs. At that time, the council decided that our contract expires at the end of December. At the time, the council decided that they wanted to wait until we got closer to the expiration of our contract before we made any decision on where we would go with that. I do have representatives from the program who can explain the benefits of this program to the council. The idea is that I would be able to work with them and get the best price for the town and locked it in for 3 years.
And this is negotiated through the majority holders in the league. The League of
That's
City and
correct.
Towns. So it's
And-
not just Warren, it's the power of multiple towns and cities.
That's correct. And the program is through Power Options, which is a nonprofit organization that works with many cities and towns and also other nonprofit organizations to get the best energy rates for those that are in the program. They can explain it a lot better than I can, but we did bring this before the Budget Committee, and the Budget Committee did recommend that the council enter into another agreement with Power.
And these are 3-year contracts?
I believe it's 3-year contract. Is that? Okay.
All right, so please, can we hear from you?
Good evening. My name is Charlotte Diago. I'm actually from Constellation Energy. We're the energy supplier, and I work hand in hand with Rita Moran here from Power Options, and we collectively work together with the endorsement of the Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns. We serve about 29 of the 39 communities in Rhode Island through this program, and we've been the endorsed supplier now since 2018. So the town of Warren has been a member of this program for a number of years. As the town manager mentioned, it is coming to expiration in December. So I did put together a presentation. We can go through it in detail, talk about kind of what's driving electricity prices, why we're at a higher rate than where we were a number of years ago, the last time you locked in to an electricity supply agreement, if you'd like, or I can just kind of talk very broadly and answer any questions. It's completely up to you.
What would you like, members of the council?
I think broadly.
Okay, it is a lot of information, I know. And we did meet with the budget committee and have a very detailed conversation about exactly what drives energy prices. in New England and specifically in Rhode Island. So there's a number of things right now. We had a very cold winter. Geopolitical events are not helping prices right now. There's a number of issues with where we are geographically here in New England. We're at the tail end of the pipeline. We rely very heavily on natural gas to produce electricity here in New England. And that we're at the tail end of the pipeline. So when we're in really cold months, energy gets very expensive. So currently you're locked in at a rate of 11.97 until the end of December. You could hypothetically lock in a contract tomorrow and you would still remain under that 11.97 until your meter read cycle is in December. So what the town manager and myself and Rita would work on is prices expire each day. So we might provide the town manager prices one day and the next day the market changes and they're expired. So we will work hand in hand to figure out, is the market in a good position today? So I think he's just seeking approval for that authority to be able to lock in when the timing is right. Since the last time we did meet, prices have come down a touch, which is a good thing.
Yes. I was worried about Jim, but go ahead.
Yeah, down a touch. Waiting till you get closer to your expiration in December is never a good idea. Winter is really the driving force of volatility. And if we are projected to have a cold winter, we'll start to see those prices elevate. So once you lock in, it would be a contract, a Constellation contract partnered with Power Options. Rita can walk through the benefits of the Power Options contract that is, again, negotiated with the Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns. You do not have to go out to bid for this program because the Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns have done it on your behalf.
I mean, just for an example, the average kilowatt cost is for a house is what, about 18
Correct.
cents?
Yeah. So right now you're at 11.97. If you were to look on one of the last pages, it says pricing for the town of Warren. There's two sets of prices here. If you want kind of the most fixed price you could get, which is what most municipalities want to be able to set a budget and know what their price is going to be for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, you're looking at about 12.87 cents. That's today's price. So that could change tomorrow, but that's about what you're looking at for the town. If you do, a lot of communities do a residential aggregation program within their communities. Those are always going to be more expensive because there's a premium built into that because you can opt out at any time. So going and getting a direct price from a supplier like Constellation and the Power Options program, we're pricing your account specifically. So you have 47 accounts for the town of Warren. They're all included in that price.
Are there any questions?
Go ahead.
Mr. Hanley?
I have actually one question for you and then a question for the town manager. I'm reading this page here where it says where you get all your electricity.
Yeah.
The renewable portfolio, what does that jack it up? That's
So that's
mandated that you have to
significantly
buy it.
increased. Right now in 2026, 41% of is the compliance rate in the state of Rhode Island. So we are told from the state what the compliance percentage is. They want to be 100% by 2033. So the longer you go into the future, we're going to see that cost increase. So if you look at that page, everything but the blue is the cost to produce the electrons. Right now, that's actually a pretty good spot. Everything else, think of as state or federally mandated charges. We're being told what those costs are. So for renewable portfolio standard, the easiest way to think about it is all load serving entities like Constellation show up at the State House at the end of the year and show that we have 41% of our portfolio is coming from a renewable source. That's going to be 100% and, in 2033. So that's a cost to consumers for sure.
Yep. And my question to the town managers, if we know exactly how much we're gonna be paying for electricity, how do we miss so badly every year on our budgeting for town facilities? Like the sewer plant?
Well,
and-
the sewer plant unfortunately fell into the category of the previous year, we were asleep at the wheel.
No.
What do you mean, no?
Can I respond to that?
Okay, we
Because
didn't.
When you look at your electricity bill, and that's something that I hadn't talked to Brian about, you have the cost of electricity, but it's the servicing, it's what? Well, the servicing.
charge.
The
Yeah.
delivery charge,
The
that's where
delivery
they,
charge.
that's where they zop us.
But what Mr. Hanley is referring to is 3 years ago, we didn't increase the sewer usage fee, and at the end of
No,
the
that's
year.
not what no, what I'm referring to
At
is
the end of
every
the-
year, at the end of every year, we get like $5,000 more for electricity, closing out the budget for the government center. $12,000 more for electricity to close out the sewer plant.
It's usage. it's not
$8,000
cost.
more to close out this building, but if we know what the cost is, how the hell are we missing by?
I just answered that.
Usage.
So it's the delivery, it's not
The
the
delivery,
supply.
if you look at your bill, what we pay for
Right.
the actual electricity is peanuts of the water or the gas. It's the delivery it charges.
Right,
The
there's
portion.
Okay.
distribution portion of your bill, which is Rhode Island Energy, your power goes out, right? You're calling Rhode Island Energy. That used to be about 30% of your overall cost. It's about 50%.
Yeah, and we
They
did
just
have
exchanged
like
it.
And that's
almost
not
$5,000.
that
Gentlemen,
fluctuates.
gentlemen, please. Also, the billing happens after the usage. So there are many factors that go into why at the end of the
I know,
year.
I can understand we may
Okay.
have a little more usage, but when you're talking big dollars like that, did somebody leave an air conditioner running in the basement for the whole year?
No.
I mean, those are big overage.
All right,
but
we're
it's the
gonna move,
delivery.
we're
Yeah,
gonna
okay.
move on. Are there any other questions from
Yeah,
the
I
left?
had my hand up.
Oh, I thought you would go right ahead.
When we met, I believe the rate was 11.98, and we were concerned that it was gonna go up. We didn't know. And then I did a survey, a 5-year look back, and it seems like from July to September is the best time to be making these purchases. So we should probably act now. So can we commit to today's rate for another 4 years, or do we have to wait till December?
No, you do not have to wait in December, nor do you want to, because you're getting close to the winter.
Right, and again, I did that 5 years look
That's
back.
right.
and it's
Hypothetically,
amazing.
tomorrow, you can call and say, let's lock in 4 years.
But now you just said it's at 11.97, but then you said 12.8.
So your rate currently is 11.97 through December of
Yeah.
the year. Renewal rates, so we're looking at a contract beyond that period, you're at like 12.87. So there is an increase in what the future rate will be for
Okay.
electricity.
But when we sat down at that time, it wasn't 12.8. I thought it was 11.98.
She said it changes daily.
It changes daily, but it hasn't been in the 11s in years.
Only because you just said it's come down since.
It has come down from the rates that we provided to you when we met.
Okay, maybe I was off on the rates, yeah.
It was probably 12,
Yeah.
9.
On when we met, I think it was July 7th that we met. And these are the rates that you gave us.
Yeah,
That was
13.
13.16, 1306. And then.
Yeah, and actually what we're talking about is with the day ahead ancillary component fixed. It was in the 13.
It was 13.14 and
It's
it's
good that we
12.14.
waited.
Good thing you waited.
Yeah, so I would.
There you go. You want to make a motion?
Yeah, I would make a motion that we have.
That we authorize the town
authorize the
manager.
Town manager to sign a contract, based on the amount we just voted.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
All in favor?
Hi.
Thank you.
But I don't know if I like that based on the number we just talked about. You gotta he's gotta wait to pull the trigger. He can't.
Right, it's not based.
Yeah, in other words, so it's not based on the number they just said, it's based on
We're
what he
giving-
can negotiate.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Hanley.
Yes, yes.
The motion should be corrected and read that we're giving the authorization to the town manager to enter into a contractual agreement at the right time for this
And should
agreement.
we put a 3-year agreement? as
Well, first we have to amend this motion.
Okay.
You were very
How about-
good on catching that.
Can I just make another motion?
Mr. DeSisto,
Make a superseding motion.
there you go. We're gonna supersede.
I'm gonna do a superseding motion. I'll make a motion, we authorize the town manager to sign a contract with Power Options under the program by the League of Cities and Towns and to negotiate the best possible price for a 3-year contract.
We can't go 4.
Well, we did 3 last time, right?
Well, 4 may be a benefit. I think in
Four's
4 years, things are
cheaper.
gonna cost more.
I didn't know it was
We'll
cheap.
go with,
It is-
I'll
it is
stick
the
Louis, I'm gonna
fabric.
stick Louis with the bill, so I'll go make it a 4-year
There you go.
contract.
I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
There we go. Thank you,
Thank you.
ladies.
Thank you.
Next, we have the discussion and action on agreement with Johnny Quattrochi. And this is the John Quattrochi Trust, regarding ownership and easement for the foot of Boston Street. And Mr. DeSisto, we need to clarify that we are not voting on this in its entirety. We're voting on the amendments that the council allowed Mr. Quattrochi to think about. That information has come back to you and they're in agreement, correct?
Yeah, I'm reading from the council meeting minutes from February 12th, 2026. And the relevant motion was by Councilman Hanley, seconded by Vice President Cronin to approve the agreement pending the following conditions: sunrise to sunset access, 4-foot delineation / width, and bench in the right of way for public access. The motion passed unanimously. So what tonight is for is to approve the proposed agreement which you have there, along with the related documents that you have.
And
So, do you have any questions about the agreement that you have in your packet? And the related documents, the deed, and
Well-
the 2 easements, and the map showing where the
I believe paragraph 10, the sunrise to sunset is just inadvertently switched. Unless I'm reading it wrong. It says public access shall be restricted from sunrise to sunset. That would mean it was restricted all day. So it's the opposite.
Yeah, so my suggestion there, and I've had a chance to speak to Mr. Quattrochi's lawyer today. On paragraph 10, eliminate the word which and the word restricted. So it would read, the easement shall provide the hours of public access to the public easement. And Quattrochi's property within the easement, comma, shall be from sunrise to sunset.
Okay, and you want that in the form of a motion?
I do, and also in speaking with Mr. Quattrochi's lawyer, paragraph 11 with the fencing.
Yes.
The recommendation there is just to eliminate the paragraph.
Yeah, we like that. So,
We're gonna eliminate number 11.
correct.
Make a motion. We eliminate paragraph 11
No,
requiring,
10.
well, we're eliminating 11, we're not eliminating 10.
Well, sorry, yeah.
Eliminate 11 to paragraph 11, which requires the fencing along the southern boundary.
Is there a second
Second.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye. And
All
I'll
right.
make a motion, we amend paragraph 10 as this, that takes out the word restricted, and what was the other?
Which?
And
Take
the
out
words
which.
which and the restricted from paragraph 10, authorizing use from sunrise to sunset.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
And could I have a further motion on the related documents, paragraph, the exhibits A through D? There has to be some changes made on a legal basis. Again, I spoke to the attorney. There has to be some amendments to them with the notary clause and things of that nature. So if you could approve those, subject to review by the solicitor,
Can
I'd
I put-
appreciate that.
Can I put the agreement and the exhibits? In other words, I'll make a motion to approve the agreement.
Wait 1 second. Would it be appropriate, Mr. Kemp raised his hand. Will discussion after this or?
So up to the
And I have a
council.
question also.
So, Mr. Rego, go right ahead.
Yeah, so paragraph 7, it says Warren will accept the proper disposal of any contaminated waste collected in the road oil and road sand trap structures to be constructed or maintained. by
Yes.
Quattrochi. So that's anything after he does what he needs to do, anything that runs off, we will take care of.
That would be in accordance to what we do with all catch basins in town.
There's a pillow that goes in there that catches the
Sediment.
yeah, the sediment. And that's something that you do now, and because that sediment is being generated by Warren Roads that goes through, I think it's appropriate that you continue that practice.
Okay.
Mr. Kemp had his hand up. Mr. Kemp, would you like to speak?
Hi, I'm Woody Kemp, Chairman of the Harbor Commission, and we've had a position on this from day one that we didn't think this was the correct direction the town should go. Regardless, we're looking at an agreement that we have in place. But one of the questions that we have is that there doesn't seem to be any timelines on this agreement. And our concern is that with no timelines on the agreement, there's no reason for any of these things to actually ever get done.
Right,
There's
Mr.
there's no
DeSisto
conditions on it.
answer that.
So that,
Mr. Singwald had brought that to our attention, so we were prepared with an answer. I didn't
okay,
mean
so
to.
that's, yeah,
you off.
that's our main concern. And the other point that we wanted to make is that if the agreement is defaulted on, such as the timeline, that this agreement would be rescinded and we would go back to what our position is from day one, that it is a right of way that the town owns.
Thank you. Mr. DeSisto.
So, this is all being driven by the Department of Environmental Management. There's hazardous waste on the site. There's an order for cleanup. I've seen some documentation from DEM on that. They're driving the bus. There's 3 separate parcels that are subject to their order. I understand from DEM, by the way, that the cleanup has already started on one of the parcels. So to the extent that there's timelines, that's being driven by DEM. The issue with what we're talking about, this land, there was a dispute as to the ownership, which DEM wanted to have clarified. So once it is clear that the owner of this land is Mr. Quattrochi, then he's subject to DEM's time limits. And they are the ones that have the jurisdiction for this. And, you know, I can tell you from experience that if there's any issues there, they will go after Mr. Quattrochi to make sure that there's a cleanup on this.
But the other question I have is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but DEM doesn't have any jurisdiction on coastline improvements. It should be a CRMC jurisdiction. And I haven't seen any documentation from CRMC, any plans, anything, no engineering studies, nothing as far as how they're actually going to address that. And we have an application in front of CRMC that's been there for a decade that we have been able to, that should substantiate that it is a town right of way, but we've never gotten any answers from CRMC. So we have a couple of agencies here that don't seem to be working in conjunction to begin with. And we're concerned about whose jurisdiction and who's going to be making sure that this project actually is complete.
Well,
Wait a
CRMC
minute,
takes,
hold
go
on.
right ahead.
So the first issue is the environmental cleanup. That's DEM. They're already taking care of it.
Understood.
CRMC doesn't have any jurisdiction over that.
Correct.
That's number one. Number two, with this agreement and this easement, once that easement is put into place, you don't need the CRMC jurisdiction designation because the town has it. And if there's any blockage, the town can go to court and get an injunction for this. They have the equitable relief for that. The only remaining thing that has to be done is the seawall and the bench. And that's something that Mr. Quattrochi would have to do. And if he doesn't, again, the town would be able to enforce this agreement in court. You wouldn't have to rely on the decade-long for CRMC. So I do think that there's some advantages going this way.
We would still like to see a timeline. We'd like to see some conditions onto this, the project is completed in a timely fashion.
Well, Mr. Kemp, once this takes place, the timeline is on him. This relieves the town of the burden of the cleanup and the responsibility of the seawall and the stormwater drainage. So,
I understand, but.
well, that's
Our position, we feel that we should have gotten a better deal to begin with. And are we gonna wait forever for the deal that we got? And we should have some conditions in this to ensure that this actually happens.
Okay, I think the way I understand it, DEM is pretty hot on this. They were getting ready to start assessing us fines. weren't they?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think they're gonna back down.
well,
Now,
we've heard from Mr. Kemp and we've heard from the Harbor Commission. Do you want to continue
I will
on?
I will make a motion that we approve the agreement presented to us and the exhibits attached pending review and approval by the town's solicitor.
Second.
All in favor?
I just had a,
Oh, discussion, sorry, correct?
just want to, so Mr. Sisto, you have a great deal of background experience in maritime matters. In fact, you are the CRMC legal, what is your title
I'm the
officially?
legal counsel.
Legal counsel. Now, you've reviewed this contract Do you feel that this is in the best interest of the citizens of Warren?
I do, yes. You know, you have two ways to go here, as I said back in February. You go this route, where you could say, look, this is ours. Go to court, you could win or lose. You never know. If you win, then you gotta do the cleanup. Then you have to do the other repairs that are specified in this thing. So, you know, the council already voted on it, and here we are. It's taken months to get to this point with this agreement, which I think is a good agreement, and it does protect the town.
Great, thank you.
The last page, we're not in Broward County, though.
That's one of the things that has to be changed.
And we're getting there. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next. We have the second part, correct?
No,
Is
we're
that
all-
it in its
We're
entirety?
done with that, yeah. I approved and the exhibit.
Correct.
We did, oh yeah, we did the
Pending
language. All
solicitors
right,
approval, correct.
thank you. We did the language. Okay. Next, we have new business, update on the traffic plan for Orchard Avenue. We have a lot of residents here from Orchard Avenue, and we'd like to hear what our update is from DPW. Orchard Avenue is a town road. So you have, all right, so in other words, no comment on the bottom of Orchard Ave?
Fire Chief James Souza.
Yep.
Willing to speak on it due to attending of many of the school construction meetings over the past few months. Right now, there is more traffic on that road due to the construction. The parking lot is being worked on and maintenance crews are using that entrance to get to their maintenance barn. In the final plans, there will be a turnaround at the end of Orchard Avenue with a fence and a gate blocking off just after the turnaround.
Excellent.
That's pretty much it. The turnaround was
I think
designed
that's,
based on size of apparatus and trash trucks.
Good news. Someone, Mr. DeBlois, would you like to come down? Not Mr. DeBlois, you have to come to the microphone, state your name and address. So there's going to be a turnaround and a gate and a fence.
Yeah, that's great, that's great. First of all, there's a lot more traffic.
Mr. DeBlois, if you could state
every
your
day.
name and address.
Norman DeBlois, Orchard Avenue.
Thank you. And speak to the council, not the chief.
Okay, anyway, there's definitely more traffic every day, not just through the construction that's going on right now. And I would ask the council to put no parking signs down the road, because otherwise the people are going to park in the turnaround and walk alongside the fence and block the road like they're doing now anyway.
We can send that request to our traffic commission and they'll review it to
That'd be
make
great.
sure that it fits the
Even if
the
it's
model.
just down at the turnaround, no parking, you know?
That's
We could make it a
big.
fire lane because that's technically what it is. Yeah.
Okay,
So
great. Perfect.
just so you know, that's how we make these decisions. First, we hear and then send for the input of our DPW, fire and police, and then it comes back to us. So I'm hearing that that's going to be a no parking fire lane anyway.
Great.
So the changes that the neighborhood has requested over the years, it has been heard and is being implemented at the end of this construction phase.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Mr. Rego.
So Jim, so what's paved there now is they're gonna create a cul-de-sac with a fence, and you're gonna have a key to it, so you're able to drive through.
We haven't addressed the key, but we will have an access box or a key that's fire and police do have in the cruises and in our vehicles to get through when needed. Not a cul-de-sac, it'll be a T design turnaround, pull in to, and then back towards the gate and drive out.
In the highway department will also have a key in order for.
No, sure, the access could be,
Yeah.
we can make arrangements as needed. They do have their own lock system as well that we can get on there.
All right, great. I'm so glad this is finally coming to a good conclusion. Thank you. More quick. Hi. Come on down.
Hi, Colleen DeShanes, 14 Orchard Ave. I just want to go a little bit deeper. I'm a little confused. The no parking, is that just at the dead end part, like at the last two houses? Are we talking the whole street? Our problem is recently, we've had the police to the street twice, last night and the night before, because the soccer, football, cheerleading, it's more the nightly activities where parents are going and parking all along the streets. I saw it with my own eyes 2 nights ago. They were pulling up on the empty lot across from my house, doing a turnaround, and that's somebody's private property. And they were literally driving their car on the private property and turning around. So I think first what we need to do is address that it's a dead-end street. We have no signage saying that they can't go through even with the construction. You know, they come all the way down to find it's a dead end because the gates are closed. So we definitely need a sign for that. And at what point are we doing no parking? Is it the whole street? Is it just the end where the fence is?
I
Like,
think the traffic commission will be taking all of that into account when they come back with their recommendation.
okay.
At least that's what I believe is gonna take place.
Yeah.
Because I think the little bit of the glitch now, I believe, is because of the construction. And this is the first time that we're making finally this change.
Right,
as
and
you
we
know.
are so thankful
so
for this
we're-
change. This is huge, and we've been wanting this for
Forever.
20 plus
25
years.
years. I've
Yeah,
been here 22.
25 years.
In the 3 years that I ran, I was told
Yes.
this was an issue back then. So
It's
6
been an
years.
issue. Maybe I can suggest parking on one side of the street, because I know a lot of us as residents have,
Guests.
me being one, have, teenagers and young adults that also have cars that
They're
don't
gonna
fit
take,
in the,
they're gonna take all of those things
Yeah.
into consideration.
so.
And public safety over there because of the
Yep.
school and access is
Yeah.
gonna be number one.
But it is the, the football, the cheerleading and the soccer using the fields that's causing the majority of the traffic in our neighborhood.
We could probably, I'll ask, this is a question. Is there a construction sign that we can get there quicker than a permanent sign? A saw saying, dead end or construction, or is there any way, no through
No
traffic
through
for now? For those who are trying to beat something that ultimately makes them turn around that they don't know? We could deal with signage, Miss Hunt. Okay, so,
Yep.
yeah, thank you for bringing all of this to our
right.
attention.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to add one thing if I may.
Mr. Tromley wants to add one thing.
Just so when the safety commission comes back to us with their recommendation, I believe that they're going to be shared with you guys and they're going to come, the recommendation is going to come before us. So when you guys get the chance to review it, then you can come and give us either by email or message or come here in person and testify as to whether you think those are good changes or not, or tweaks you
Okay.
want to have. So
Great.
that you will have the opportunity for further public input in this process.
Okay,
Just wanted
great.
to add that in.
Thank you.
So there you have it. No council action. Actually, we've heard from the police. The fire chief is working in cooperation with the police and the town manager, as well as DPW on dealing with this issue. I don't think any council action is needed right now.
Traffic commission will.
And the traffic commission it's all happening as we speak. It's a miracle. So half the room can empty and we'll move on to discussion and discussion and action regarding the clearing of sidewalks after snow events. Councilman Tromley.
Thank you, Mr. President. So obviously, this last year, we've had 2 pretty big storms, and that's not unusual. We usually always have one big snow event or what have you, and oftentimes there comes from folks in the community recommendations of how to improve and make the process better. And in particular, after this last storm, I heard from a number of constituents that suggested that thank you very much, that we put in a provision. So if you go to the documents for NB2 on removal of snow or ice from sidewalks, this is an example I got from another community. In section C, the last sentence, in addition, such person shall be responsible for the cost of removal by the city as provided for in section of this chapter. So what that would mean is that if we had a situation where we had a street that wasn't, that where the sidewalks weren't shoveled by the homeowner, this town would be able to, under this, hire someone to do that work and expense that cost to the homeowner as a lien, or I guess as a fine potentially. I've talked about this with the solicitor. I'll let him mention if he has any other suggestions about how to implement this, but I think this would be a good way to address the public safety aspect of it, especially on those sidewalks that are responsible for getting kids to and from bus stops to home. I saw a lot during the last two storms, particularly because the snow stayed for as long as it did, because it was so cold that the kids were walking in the streets and the parents were very concerned about the cars hitting them, particularly the younger kids. I ended up going and shoveling out a few of them myself, and I know that we could try to organize more snow shoveling squads throughout the town, but the problem is that we just don't have as many kids as we once did. We don't have as many opportunities to do that as we once did, and I think this would be a reasonable way to try to address some of the problems we dealt with in the last storm, and try to make we might not ever have to enforce it. I hope we don't, but in the event that people don't shovel their sidewalks, instead of just fining them, we go out and we have someone shovel it and then pass the cost on to the property owner, which I think is the reasonable way to go. So that's my suggestion to the council. I'll let the rest of the council let me know what they think.
Any questions from the council?
Yeah, how does this, what are this big difference between this and our existing ordinance?
So as I understand it, our current ordinance just fines them. So we can't, under this, we can't hire somebody to clear the snow and then charge the property owner for it. This would allow us to do that.
And we have something similar to this where I work. And 6 hours of daylight, that's I think that's a little short. If this does go through, I would like to see that to go up to 12 hours of daylight. And the reason being is if the snow stops at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and you're at work and you don't get home till 5 o'clock at night, at least the next day you can get it shoveled with that hours of daylight.
Yeah.
I think 6 hours is cutting it a little short.
I understand. If I might just clarify, Mr. Hanley, the only thing that I want to add to our current ordinance is that very last sentence in section C, which says, in addition, such person shall be responsible for the cost of removal by the, in this case, town, as provided for in this chapter.
Okay, so we're just adding, you don't want to change the whole, adopt the whole thing, just that last sentence.
Just that last sentence.
I got you.
The ordinance from the other community is almost identical to Warren's, except for that one provision.
But who is going to manage this?
Who's gonna plead?
Yeah,
Is that a
Who's-
question for me? Or?
No, I think it's a question for Ms. Hunt as well as Mr. DeSisto in regards to the legality of it, because we'd then be putting a lien on the house. Correct?
Do we?
If they didn't pay, yeah.
All right, well,
Can I ask a question?
well,
Or-
sure, you can ask a question, Ms. Hunt. is ready to.
So I own property and I'll tell you, I'm always out there cleaning, but there are some times that you just can't clean the snow. And sometimes it might be cheaper for me to pay the $50 and have you clean it. And the second thing is, if somebody came to my house and gave me a fine, would you have to fine everyone in town? And would you have to clean every sidewalk in town? Are we opening that door?
Men believe it would be enforcement where there would be an enforcement officer that's going to go out, identify every property that isn't shoveled 6 hours after the storm or 8 hours or 12 hours. And then we're going to have the ability to contract with a contractor that doesn't violate our union grievance on that case. And then we're going to coordinate this effort to then have not only Ms. Hunt, if I correctly think of how this is going to play out, Ms. Hunt be responsible for the town roads. She's then going to have to be coordinating with the private industry on shoveling properties that haven't been cleared. And then those properties get penalized the cost of the snow removal. Right?
My question is, to what extent is this feasible? Are you gonna make somebody on Cockleshell Street in Towissett you're gonna send somebody over there to shovel their sidewalk? Are you gonna send somebody to the dead end Middle Street?
I mean, maybe,
I mean, some places are more risk, or there are some streets, my street, nobody walks on the sidewalk even in the summertime.
Because of you.
What's
That's
your-
right.
what's your question?
But I mean, where are we gonna, I mean, you're saying we're gonna write everybody up. That means everybody in the entire town, no matter where you live, if you don't shovel your sidewalk, we're gonna send a crew out there and shovel.
No.
Even if you live on a dead end street that the 4 houses at the end are vacant, you still gotta shovel that sidewalk.
Can I
make a suggestion?
Well, wait, let me just, for clarity. What I stated was, if this were to go into effect and the monitoring of the clock and the storm starts to take place, it would be shared amongst every violator. So you couldn't just pick and choose.
I'm agreeing with that.
Are you trying to understand the whole
Place I was trying to go was, I was gonna
Can I-
ask the
yeah,
solicitor
can I
a
make a-
question.
Yes.
Can we design this ordinance for specific high traffic areas in town? In other words, there are some streets where it's like, you didn't shovel the sidewalk, who cares? But if you're on Main Street or if you're on Child Street and some kids are trying to walk to the high school, that's a big problem. Could we get a target ordinance, a target audience for this ordinance?
So in other words, what he's saying, his house, no, but my house, yes. That's pretty much what you're saying.
Yeah, well, especially, and
That's
everybody on Patty
Just
Drive.
Walton
All
Drive.
right, gentlemen.
There's so
Mr.
much going on right
Mis-
now. Can I make a suggestion?
Well, Mr. Trombley wanted to say something, and you can
I'm
make a
begging
suggestion.
to make a suggestion.
Make a suggestion.
I think a lot of these questions can be answered if we just reach out to the community that already has this as an ordinance to see how they administer to it. And my guess is they're gonna be able to answer some questions. So to me, what we should do is have the town manager and the town planner reach out to that community and say, these are the questions we have in regard to your ordinance. I'm sure they'd be happy to forward that and we can come back to you. It's August, so we have a few months before the snow starts on this. Perhaps that's the best way to go. We can answer these questions that you have that we don't have the experience on, but another community does.
Very good point. Mr. Trombley?
My legal question, you would be the one that would have to answer it. Can we target specific neighborhoods under this ordinance instead of the town in general?
The answer is maybe.
Okay.
Mr. Trombley, you want to add to this or end?
I think that's a very accurate assessment. It depends is often the lawyer's answer to many questions.
I just have.
But here's my vision of how this would work. Under the law that we have, or the ordinance that we have, everyone in town is supposed to shovel their sidewalk within a certain time period after a snowstorm. For purposes of this provision, we presume that everyone has done so, unless we are made aware that someone has not. In other words, as long as nobody on that dead end street calls and says, hey, somebody hasn't shoveled this person out, we presume that they have. So that's how I envision it would work. It would work much like you're saying, the high traffic areas that haven't been shoveled by the homeowners would get priority in terms of what the sort of enforcement mechanism here.
Well-
And those that aren't would probably not be.
I want
Answer his
wait,
question
I
correctly.
just need to say something, please, because we do have our building official who does a very good job of going out and using our ordinance to get people, as well as DPW, as well as the police. They do work in cooperation of each other, with each other, to go out and to make sure that these sidewalks are cleared. And when they're not cleared, we've had DPW get to those locations. So I don't want to paint a picture that we're not doing what we're trying to do in town. Mr. Trombley has brought an idea forward to try to encourage participation in a different way.
Right, and what
But
Mr.
we
Trombley.
try to do what the right thing in Warren.
We were saying, if nobody complains on the dead end street, I do this, I live this in the winter time at my job. And anybody that gets cited gets so mad, they drive around the entire city and come in with 15, 20, 30 addresses that aren't shoveled on dead end streets, on cul-de-sacs. So it's not gonna be just limited to where, because as soon as you cite one person, they're gonna sell everybody out in their entire neighborhood and everybody else in the other next neighborhood over. So if we start doing this, it's gonna be all or nothing unless we can selectively target the problem areas.
All right, I'm real happy about the going to the call them up, but I want to let our two department heads speak, and then we're going to end this.
I
because-
have one last question before we end it.
Okay, although we were just going to ask.
I know it really
Connecticut.
stinks, but I spent 3-4 hours on these packages. We spend another 5 minutes. I have
Okay, I go,
respect that.
whatever you guys want to say. I do
Did you have a
respect it,
question?
Mr. Rego. I'm trying to move the issue along.
Do you want me to ask my question first?
Please, sure, go right ahead.
So we have narrow streets, narrow sidewalks. Most of the time, the snow, you don't put it right in front of the sidewalk. I clean my snow, you come along and you put it back on the sidewalk. How do you police that, and who gets the fine, and who's gonna pay for it when that happens? Is my only question.
You have to make a path. It's illegal in Warren to throw snow in the road.
But
No,
if you
he's
make
talking
the
about
path,
I
and then
know,
they throw it back.
I
You're
know,
a perfect
it's-
example, Joe.
I am. I come at and then I make a path next to the sidewalk. I mean, next to the house.
So from a DPW standpoint, the language, I can't speak to the legality of any of it, but the language that concerns me is that the city or town will clear the sidewalk. I have concerns about that because we don't have the bandwidth to be able to do that in a place where the ordinance changes so that folks see an option for the town to do it. My concern would be that people would lean on that very heavily. From what we learned last season, I learned it very quickly. Snow is an equalizer. It affects everyone. The patience is required from everyone. The community effort is required from everyone. I am acting director of the DPW. I had to call a kid from a phone number I got on Facebook to see if he could shovel out my driveway because I couldn't do it. I think there are certain hardships that people are facing. There's disability, elderly people, people with health problems, people with financial problems that not everyone is able to do this. But I think we really need to think about a solution that is community focused. Perhaps, we can work with some of our partners in town, Health Equity Zone, not to throw them into this and loop them into this as well. But I think we have organizations who may be able to help us recruit a volunteer corps, get people, set up with resources. My concern is putting the responsibility back on the town. We do get to the sidewalks on Child Street to clear, but realistically speaking, it took us a long time to get there. And I don't want kids walking in the street because they're waiting for us. We had people working a week straight with very little rest. I just want to be realistic about what our resources are and what we are capable of doing. It doesn't mean we don't want to do it and we don't want to clear the sidewalks, but our Ventrac machine can't hit every sidewalk. It's not built for that. We don't have the personnel to send out to be, it's like the parking fine, right? I'd rather just risk, now it's more so people may pay attention to it, but I'd rather just risk the $20 and pay the ticket and hope for the best. And maybe the town will show up and take care of it. I just want to make sure that we're not giving this as an option when we don't have the means to fulfill it.
And again, I'm very happy with Mr. DeSisto's solution to get the information first. Please don't take this.
No.
as a
I'm not
criticism.
taking this as a criticism at all. I'm a realist and
I
we had to
understand
learn
that.
this. I personally had to learn this really quickly. So I want to make sure that if we are offering services to the residents, that we are able to make good on those
There's a lot
those
of-
commitments.
there's
And
a
I
lot
want to be able to
There's a lot of boxes that are going to need
see
to
what
be
we can
checked.
do to solve this problem, because it's a real problem that really exists. But also, I do think oftentimes, not always, certainly there are plenty of people who struggle with this very issue. But again, I mean, I had to hire someone. I have access to a garage full of plows, but I'm a resident. I have to clear my sidewalk. So those are things that I think we have to figure out a way to motivate people and also help the people who are in most need. And I think that would be the crux of the conversation is how do we identify the people who are in genuine need versus the people who are, you know, would look to use this as an easy way to get the snow shoveled.
Understood. Thank you. Mr. Cabral.
So Matt Cabral, building and zoning official and code compliance. So I just want to speak real quick because this was brought up as to the enforcement. We had 2 major storms this year, and that falls under my department for the enforcement of this ordinance. So we sent out, I believe it was 70 and change violation warnings. So it's basically a letter that we sent out to all the property owners saying, you're in violation, here's the ordinance, you need to remove the snow or ice in front of your property. It got to the point where that actually worked. We did get a lot of compliance, but then it was getting someone to do it. And, you know, we have a great DPW, but they only have so many people for such a, you know, big area, and they're already plowing and major snow events trying to get the snow. So there are private companies that we can get on contract that they will come in. Luckily, there was a company in Bristol that has a 2 very big machines. That's what you need on these large events. The smaller machines are sometimes tough. So I would say moving forward, yes, what you're proposing, Councilman Trombley, gives a little bit more of a bite, so we can do it immediately. I don't have to go and wait the time period. It can be if it's something where it's an emergent situation. But I think looking forward, you know, Mary brought up a very good point where, you know, we have people who, you know, they may have been able to shovel the snow in front of their properties and now they can't. And especially on a major snow event, I know other communities, they do have companies that they contract, they do the sidewalk. And that's one thing I know money is, you know, an issue right now, but maybe we should look at at least get a cost. What would it cost for a company to come in just to do our sidewalks, our downtown sidewalks and our walk to school sidewalks? That way we know that those sidewalks are done. The ordinance actually says that it includes all sidewalks from Kinnicket all the way down to Water Street. So that's a large area that our DPW, you know, to already plow the snow. So I think, you know, it's this kind of big, was made into something big, but we're doing it already right now. We're already on it. And I do have some ideas. We can work with Mary to maybe work with the people who would need to do this, but I agree with you that will give us a little bit more of a bite where we can do it immediately. But we'd also need a company on retainer that we can just call them. And, you know, it's very tough when you have a major snow event. We found that out. We couldn't even get equipment. So to call a company and say, hey, we need sidewalks cleared. If we don't have anybody, we're going to be waiting.
All right, I have a motion to ask the solicitor, DPW, whoever wants to be on the phone call to call, where are we calling? Connecticut, New Britain?
New Britain, Connecticut.
Okay, can I have a motion to do that?
I'll second it, but then I just have one last thing I want to add, just very.
Please.
So just what I recall from the last snow, and I'm glad that we're talking about it now when it's very hot out and there's no snow. We're not, you know, driving people crazy. But what I'm envisioning is, typically speaking, even in the most severe snow emergencies, there's usually maybe a 1 or 2 day disaster declaration, then kids go back to school. That gives us some time for DPW to clear the streets and and they do great work. And it gives folks as well the opportunity to clear their sidewalks. But there's a period after the declaration period ends where kids have to go back to school and they have to make their way to the bus stop. And then the people who have not shoveled the sidewalk are still those sidewalks are still covered in snow. And in the last storm, because of how cold it was, those sidewalks were like that for weeks. And I think that giving this additional bite, what I'm hoping for, and this can be a discussion between DPW, building inspector, manager, and everything, is during that not during that 2 day period or 1 or 2 day period where there's a declaration of emergency and everyone were working around the clock and even for weeks working around the clock, it's the period after that. That's what I'm looking for.
All right, so we're not looking at, remember this, you have a great idea. Let's get off of the specifics of the idea because it was 6-8 hours after snow. Sure. Let's have them call. Let's find out, because it's cost imperative. Probably it's going to be money we don't have. So these are all great questions. We'll send it off to our people in DPW and over there, and they'll look into this. So we have a motion, Mr. Trombley, second. All in favor of having them find out what New Britain does, as well as other things?
Well, they come in.
All in favor?
It also come up with ideas.
Aye.
There you go. Aye. Thank you. Next, we have discussion and action regarding the proportional distribution of BV licenses in the town of Warren. This is also brought to us by Councilman Tromley.
Thank you, Mr. President. We received a correspondence several months ago, and I've also spoken to several local business owners that are concerned about the amount of businesses, particularly in the downtown district as compared to the rest of the town, and that it's sort of cannibalizing each other. And they're very worried about new businesses or new restaurants and bars coming in and taking existing clientele and therefore making them not only less profitable, but not profitable. And I think that it's a legitimate concern that I'd like to see if we can address, especially with, we had at the last council meeting, someone come before us proposing to, I believe, change the use for a building to, which was across, it's on Child Street, I remember that. And I'm just wondering if we can put anything into either our zoning ordinances or some sort of direction to the special use permit, a condition about looking at sort of what the surrounding business environment looks like. That way we just don't have businesses kind of on top of each other that are like hurting each other, if that makes sense. So that's why my vision, hoping I see that has been attached the number and list of all of the BVL establishments and their locations throughout town. It's quite a number. And I'm not saying that any of them are bad businesses. They certainly aren't. I just wonder if they can all continue to survive if there's more to come, so to speak.
Mr. DeSisto, can you give us an answer?
I can, yes, and I have a suggestion.
Please.
What Councilman Trombley's last comments had to deal with were the request for the liquor license that came. They had already been approved by the zoning board. So I think to effectuate what he wants to do would require a look at the specific criteria in the zoning ordinance for the granting of a special use permit for either a restaurant or an otherwise liquor licensed establishment. My suggestion would be to refer the matter to your outstanding town planner to come up with the criteria that would be needed for this. You can take a look at it and then amend the zoning ordinance after that to take into accommodation those concerns.
Okay, is there any discussion or is there a motion?
Motion to refer to the town planner.
Second.
All in favor?
Suggestion.
Thank you.
I just want to amend that to say the exceptional town planner, I think was the words that was used.
I think
Yeah,
I said
yeah.
outstanding.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So there was a request that evidently came in. I didn't quite see it, but it's a discussion and action regarding the traffic study for the intersection of Child Street and Hugh Cole Road. So my recommendation is
We
to,
didn't vote on
Did you
that.
vote on that?
on the previous,
Yeah.
Yes.
all in favor?
Aye.
I thought so, sorry. This is a request for a traffic study, and that would be done by the State Traffic Commission. And we should send that off, a request for the intersection of Child Street and Hugh Cole Road.
I'll make a motion. We refer this to the State Traffic Commission for a study for the traffic condition on Child Street and Hugh Cole Road.
And that,
Second.
and that would be, that's held, do you have something you want to add to that?
No.
All right, next item. So that's held in Providence, and Mr. Sullivan and I would probably attend when that is on the agenda. So,
Mr. President, Mr.
Is
Barlow, I think Mr. Barlow wants to say something.
I know, but I kind of like, I'm a little torn on that one. So I think our action is to send it off. Unfortunately, the request on the agenda slipped my, it never, the way that a motion gets put on the agenda, an item gets put on the agenda is through the sponsorship of a councilman. It never came to my knowledge that a councilman was sponsoring this request. So I think we're just going to deal with this way. So that's how we're going to do it. And it's been done. So your request for the study has been sent to the State Traffic Commission. Okay? Thank you. Next, we have the tax assessor, or am I wrong?
Town manager.
Town manager, wrong page. Town manager, discussion and action concerning the Economic Development Board.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you recall, there was a resignation this at the beginning of this meeting from the Economic Development Board. The council president asked me to reach out to the members of the Economic Development Board and the chair to find out if, in fact, they were meeting and the plans of going forward, when they will be meeting. I sent an email to all of the members of the Economic Development Board. I received one reply back. Actually, I'm sorry. I received two replies. One from the member that had put in his resignation, let me know that he was no longer a member of that board. And then a second one from another member who stated that she was no longer a member of the board either. I have not heard from either the chair or the co-chair of that board.
I know, there seems to be a, I don't know how to, what would you say, a lack of.
Are they meeting?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe they are. I don't
Unfortunately,
think there was any reports ever submitted. Part of my email was, asking, how many times they have met in the last 6 months and what their plans were meeting going forward, including tomorrow night. This
So the only
scheduled
information-
meeting, and I had got
The only information we have is from the resignation letter.
correct.
Which spurred us into this position. I would like the boards to continue. This board actually isn't in the charter. It's an ad hoc, I believe, and I can be corrected.
I don't know. It might be in the charter.
I
Been
would,
around for a long
I
time.
know, when we created it, I don't think we put it in the charter. It very well
It might
could
be in the
be.
charter now.
So where I was going with this is, if it's not an ad hoc, it has to stay as a recognized board, whether it's personed, is that a correct word? Whether there are people on the board or not, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Whether it's staff.
Could we refer this to the planner to come up with?
No, I think we should make a motion I'm gonna make a motion that the solicitor determine if this is an ad hoc or charter board and send out correspondence to the remaining members and summon them to the next town council meeting. And if they don't show up, then we take action from there.
Or asking for, resignate. Yeah, either way, that's
Yeah,
fine.
if they don't show up, that's their letter. of
Or
resignation.
tell us,
Yeah.
if they
Well,
don't respond.
Can I just say?
Yeah, if they
something?
don't show up.
if they
Yes,
haven't-
Mr. Rego.
If they haven't attended 3 meetings by charter, they're off.
Right, so I make a
Correct.
motion.
Wait, Ms. Cronin has a question.
So. well,
Or a
not- it's
statement.
More of a statement. This board has not operated or functioned
6 months.
since Councilman Trombley was the chair of it. It's sort of just fallen by the wayside. There's a lot of really good work being done by the planner currently as far as economic development goes. There is no direction to the Economic Development Board right now or any reason for them to continue operating for any reason. I think if we dissolve the board or just put it on pause and then repopulate it once we have a better economic development plan and some direction for whomever it is who wants to serve on it, I think that's the way to go. Because I don't think there's any reason for them to be meeting right now. Did you discover, are they chartered?
Not in the charter and not
Yeah.
in the ordinances. I
Yeah.
had always thought that it was just something that was created
We did.
and
Frank
not-
Alfano and I,
never an ordinance, never.
Mr.
a
Rego,
charter.
you may have
Yeah,
been on the
yeah,
council at the time. Our logic at the time was to allow, I believe, out-of-town members to participate.
Right.
The charter at the time said you had to be a registered voter or something, a resident. I forget the language. So at its inception, we tried to, and it was successful. It moved on for years. Now, unfortunately, that's why I remembered it was potentially ad hoc. I think Mr. Hanley has a motion.
Yeah, I mean, well, for the first part of my motion, we know it's not in the charter. So I'll make a motion, we summon the registered members, for lack of a better term, or the
Identified member, remaining
identified
members.
members to the next council meeting.
And if they don't come, it's,
Well,
they're-
discussion on that. I
Thank
mean,
you.
if they have it to do what? Yeah, if they haven't met three meetings and most of them resigned, at this point, we have no members.
Correct.
There's
I
no
think
reason
Mr.
to come
Hanlon
back.
was just trying to.
Well, and the other thing I'm doing, is
Diplomatic.
maybe, as Kerry said, they just haven't had any direction. Maybe we have some good members that would still be interested in participating if we just terminate them.
Well, I think when we look at,
We don't even have a mission for them right now.
right, wait,
There is nothing.
point of
nothing for
clarity.
them to be doing.
If they don't attend 3 meetings, they're off. So the board is disqualified by fact. They haven't met in 3 meetings. They've all missed 3 meetings.
Does it say they're automatically off or or the council can take it?
I'm gonna make a suggestion on this so that you can reconstitute things. Dissolve the board. The motion should be dissolve the Economic Development Board so that it can be reconstituted with a new mission statement. And
Yes.
a new, group on it. I think that's what you do.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And we have great economic development news on the very near horizon. Mr. Sullivan, go right ahead. Now we have a update on the Rhode Island Housing Grant for the revision of Chapter 32 zoning ordinances.
Yes, if you recall, back in October, we received a grant from Rhode Island Housing. We received actually 3 grants. One of the grants was to update our zoning ordinances, which were out of compliance with state law. Weston and Sampson has been working on doing that. We had a meeting last Friday in which the planner, the chairman of the planning board met with us with Weston and Sampson to talk about the progress that they've made. One of the items that was discussed is that we need to present this to the council. So, but because it is such a not a difficult, but a time-consuming process, it needs to have its own special meeting so that it can focus, or we can focus just on the language changes in the zoning ordinances. So that's the update. I know the planner is there. Jesse's not. Oh, Jesse's there too. I mean,
Blake.
everything. Blake. Sorry, Jesse. I called him.
Yeah,
Blake.
so please, if you have anything you'd want to share with us about this project.
I just first want to commend the town planner on taking this on. Blake Costa, Chair, Planning Board. Commend the town planner and taking this on from the planning board. We noticed this last year. We brought it up. This was a big lift. We are not looking to make any material changes to the zoning ordinance. Bringing it into compliance with general law, give us a new baseline that we can build off of to finally implement our comprehensive plan. We can't implement the comprehensive plan when we have zoning ordinances that don't represent what's in Rhode Island general law. So what we're presenting to you is a baseline, no material changes, bringing us into compliance and getting us to an organization that our board, the zoning board, and the council can refer to, and it's accurate against law. And it helps us as we go to the applications that come before our board, not only the applicants, but for us to have a resource that's accurate and legal. So I just want to make you guys all aware that this isn't material changes we're making at this time. I think there's going to be a phase 2 when the comprehensive plan gets implemented. It's important we do this in a timely manner to bring us into compliance, as we're constantly seeing major developments come in front of our board. Unfortunately, we have to rely on outdated ordinances. So that's my input, sir.
Thank you. And we really appreciate the effort you're putting in.
Thank you, sir.
It shows. Stanley?
Brian, how long, I think you're asking for a special meeting. How much could we do it September? Do you need more than an hour if we started early in September, or do you need a separate date altogether?
I'm going to defer to the expert on this, the planner, because I've read it, but I'm not an expert.
I think a separate date keeps us fresh.
I'm recommending a special meeting. I've already talked with the clerk's office. We're looking at September 22nd or 29th. My preference would be for the 29th. And I think it's because you're looking at right now approximately 140 to 150 pages of changes. We will have a key to the document. You'll receive it in advance. We'll schedule one-on-one or one-on-two meetings to go over it with council members. We will also have a more technical presentation at the planning commission meeting, which will probably also be a special meeting. I believe we decided on in September as well. Like Mr. Coster said, this is just to bring us up to create a baseline of compliance. We will still be doing a phase 2 and a phase 3, digging into deeper ordinances. The document I'll be sending you is a draft form, so it will be considered privileged and confidential at such time that we finalize it for an official council or public meeting. It does have to be advertised for 3 weeks, as I'm sure everyone's aware. And if I know my director's report is very simply, but what I did do in the director's report is try and condense an overview of kind of what got us to this process and the creation of the Rhode Island Department of Housing and the changes in land use law. There have been 50 some laws passed in the last 4 years that we now need to bring up. We're also going to be updating some resources on the planning department page. There's a lot of confusion around what adaptive reuse means and what comprehensive permit means versus comprehensive plan. And there are some technical assistance documents that I'm trying to make them more user-friendly. I know I often use language that everyone looks at me and goes, okay, like I hear the words, but I don't know what you're saying. And so that's what we're working on as well.
Thank you.
No problem.
I'll make a motion. Oh, let's see if this, I'm gonna say the 29th. We have a special meeting September, Tuesday, the 29th at 7 PM. That work for?
6, yeah.
Go to
earlier
6,
than that,
okay, yeah.
Thank you.
And what are we titling this meeting?
Zoning amendments.
Yeah, and we're enabling legislation.
All right, you're making the motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we go over this enabling legislation, zoning changes, updating, that's way too
Amendments.
early. I'm gonna make a motion for September 29th at 6 PM. We have zoning amendments on the agenda, because that's what they are. We're changing the zoning ordinance.
Is that enough time? Will you be able to do everything you need to do by September 29th?
Oh, yes, we tasked the consultants early on that this had kind of been pushed to the wayside for other projects and that this needed to be done as soon as possible in the most accordance with state law.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
See you on the 29th of September. Next, we have discussion and action regarding the bid for the Wood Street Pump Station removal. This is of the removing the pump station or removing the pump from the station. So the wording's a little,
Is this the one we talked about last month?
yes.
So we had this is what we had talked about, yes, last month. We came to request one, and the council was generous enough to give us two. We went out to bid on this one, which we know exactly what needs to be done because this one has been repaired just to get through with what's necessary to make it operational. So we know exactly what needs to be done on this pump. The second pump, we need to evaluate a little bit more to determine exactly or come with a good conclusion as to what needs to be done on that pump. So we'd like to at least go forward with this one. And then once we get the evaluation on the second pump, come back with another bid proposal.
And your recommendation is the 28,925
Yes, there was.
from industrial
Correct,
pump?
yeah. Yeah.
You have to rebuild.
That's to rebuild.
It's a rebuild, yes, and that's the recommendation after speaking with Mr. Cominger at the wastewater treatment.
And he's here. Mr. Kamiga, anything you want to add, or is it all good?
I'll make a motion to approve in the amount of 28,925.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have solicitor. This is a request of motion for the executive session, closed session pursuant to RIGL 42465 A2 regarding a collective bargaining potential litigation matter. And
It'll be very brief.
be very brief.
Make a motion for executive session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Trombley.
Aye.
Ms. Cronin.
Aye.
Mr. Hanley.
Aye.
Mr. Rego.
Aye.
Myself in the affirmative. Okay. Finance Director. How are you, Mr. Marshall? What do you have to say?
We're in pretty good shape. cash wise, we're just coming off a collection, so we're pretty flush. We, on last year's budget, we are still in the positive. And we got about another month's worth, but you won't see much more coming in, so I think we'll end on a positive basis.
Nice.
And we're off to a good start on this year.
But Gary, how much of, I know on the revenue side, I don't expect this anymore. On the deficit, on the expenditure side, what would you estimate more that you would think that we're looking at?
I ran it last week. I've been running it every week, and like last week, it was only a couple of $1,000.
Couple of thousand, that's great. That's great.
And as you go, the further out you go, the less you're gonna get in. So unless something happens to, hit that we want.
Is that the same for the sewer department? Do we have any other outstanding bills? Pretty good shape.
Sewer department, I realized this week I hadn't transferred the rest of the sewer fees that were collected. So sewer went up by like another $30,000.
Good, so then.
The extra, like 30,000.
Good, looks like we're in great shape.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Marshall? Thank you. Keep the good work coming. Next, we have we have the tax assessor. Good evening. We have the abatement to the 26 tax roll in the amount of $1,131. And
I'll make a motion, we approve the abatement to the 2026 tax roll in the amount of $1,131.52.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion, we add to the 2026 tax roll in the amount of $23,413.46.
Second with discussion.
Sure, let's point out how this happened.
Oh, so, we have Jim Core that's on the budget committee, and he was looking at some of the sewer use fees. And he was able to find just another $7,000, so kudos to Jim.
Kudos to Jim.
Thank you. So there's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Next.
And I will make a motion, we abate the prior year's sewer use, I don't have the year, in the amount of $381.58.
2025, isn't it?
No, it's
Just says abate prior year's sewer use fee, so I guess it was last year?
25, 24,
23,
23, and
24.
22.
Okay.
Yeah, that was an
error.
An error, a two-family home was converted to a one, and unfortunately, the charge had continued.
Okay,
So we're reimbursing that, and is there a motion?
I made the motion.
Oh, you already did, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maya, we like when the additions are more than the abatements.
Now, for the big news, drum roll, please. We have town planner discussion and action regarding adding data centers to our ordinance under a prohibitive use. Oh, that's not, I was waiting for the big news, sorry. No, please come to the podium and we'll deal with both issues, but I was looking at number 2 while I read number 1.
I also have Mr. Costa here with me because I was not at the last meeting. However, I have discussed data centers probably ad nauseum with Mr. Costa and Ms. Flanagan. As you're aware, data centers are a very big land use resource equity topic across the country.
Yeah.
Rhode Island currently has 4 in the state. There are other municipalities, especially smaller communities such as Charlestown, who are looking at a similar, a prohibitive use or moratorium at this time until there is better, no pun intended, data around data centers. I know in the General Assembly last session, Rep. Kennedy introduced some legislation around regulation. It didn't get very far, and I think it's because it's just a little bit too new. And right now they're looking across the country at AI, ethical use, and resources in certain communities. And so this recommendation is just to put a moratorium or prohibitive use at such time until we have better regulatory statutes in place.
Couldn't agree more. I make a motion, we approve the banning of data centers in our community.
That's not their request.
You're gonna have to make a
Yeah.
motion to send it to the planning board.
Oh, we
add it
do?
To the
Oh,
use tables
man.
and so.
Okay,
Mr. DeSisto, please.
so the
Everybody
recommendation,
relax.
I think what the planner is asking for here now is to proceed to the next step on this. And, you know, for full disclosure, I'm advising other communities who I don't represent on this very issue. There's two issues that you brought up. One is a moratorium. That has a separate scheme under the law as to how to proceed. I can provide you with a memo for that if that's what you vote on. Number two, it's to actually put, and I think that's the main thrust that you have, Bianca, is to put a provision in the zoning ordinance specifically prohibiting data centers in the town. So that would take an amendment to your zoning ordinance. That's something that's permissible and something that we can already talk to Bianca about that. So what we need from you tonight is a motion as to how we should proceed so we can present you with the necessary tools that you'll need to implement this.
And I apologize, I did misspeak. In the beginning, we were talking about a moratorium. Upon further discussion, we went to a prohibitive use recommendation.
There's nothing in any ordinance that refers to a data center in any way, because.
No, it's so new.
So we're getting ahead of it by, I would make a motion to create.
It's particularly new in the East Coast and New England area. Normally, these types of things are looked at in large states, more rural states where there's a surplus of resources. The other thing that we'll probably be looking at in the near future is, I always forget what the battery, the BESS, the battery equipment. So it's big storage, yeah, stuff. Anyway, those are also land uses that are being looked at as well.
So Mr. DeSisto, you're
In
recommending,
another community in the state, they didn't mention data centers, just like Warren. And what they did is they attempted to have a data center. They applied for a data center by using other provisions of the zoning ordinance, saying these warehouse uses that you permit is something that is a data center. And there was a lot of scuffling about that, and it's a solution for that community after fending off that proposal is to put it specifically prohibited.
Is that how they tried to circumvent? If it's not listed, it's prohibited?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so this is be much stronger to actually put it in as a prohibited.
Yes.
so you're not recommending that we do that. You're recommending that we continue the collecting of the data?
No, I'm recommending it that we put it as a prohibitive use until such time as the data looks favorably for a town like
Oh,
Warren.
that's what you misspoke on at the
Yes,
beginning.
when I said moratorium, I meant to say prohibitive.
Okay,
Well, I would make that motion that we make data centers a prohibitive use in our.
I'll make a motion, we refer the planner and the solicitor and the planning board to come back next month with the changes to the zoning ordinance that will prohibit data centers.
please come and speak.
I'll second just for the record. I'll second.
Well, wait, because Ms. Cronin made a motion, no one had seconded it. Then John spoke,
He jumped right on it.
then.
What's the
then-
better
Well,
language?
wait,
If we're saying the same
Well,
thing, let's
wait.
just get it right.
wait, let's let this
This was brought
gentleman,
up to
Mr.
Blake Costa.
Mr. Costa speak.
This was brought up in the planning board. We're not taking a position on this one way or another. We're just saying that we don't believe this town's a resource for data centers to come into, but why wait? Let's get ahead of it. Let's protect the town. We can address this on phase 2 of zoning ordinance updates or phase 3. But right now, the recommendation from the planning board, which was held by motion on the board, was to put this as a prohibited use. This allows us the time to focus on other priorities of zoning updates and address this when it can fit into our priorities.
so that's the appropriate language.
Is to add this to the prohibited use table of the current zoning ordinance.
Yes, under section 32-59.
Right, but the proper way to do this is for us to make a motion to refer it to you and the planning board who writes the zoning ordinance to come back to us next month with the use tables amended and any other thing that has to go with it. That's the motion. We can't make a motion to prohibit it tonight, correct?
Well, it's in the nature of an ordinance, so what you need to do is get the ordinance language next month. then it'd be referred to the planning board, they've already taken a look at it, then you can come back in October for your public hearing.
Correct.
Okay.
So. All right, so Ms. Cronin is seconding, or no, Mr. Tromley seconded Mr. Hanley's request to motion to send it back for the proper language to be presented next month. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I got a headache after that.
Me too.
Probably from those data centers.
I think it's from the plan.
Next, we
I
have,
feel like he's creating a hostile work environment, Mr. Solicitor.
This is probably the happiest work environment you're gonna get for any city of town.
next we have great news.
So the town of Warren's received a $100,000 grant from Rhode Island Commerce Corps. This is a technical assistance grant, and this is to create a robust, implementable economic development plan for the town. And it focuses on creating and outlining a redevelopment area, a redevelopment plan, and then a redevelopment agency, which is a quasi-governmental authority protected under Rhode Island general law. And it would allow the town to move forward in a very robust manner, however, within the parameters set by the town.
So we don't lose local control.
Correct. And I'd just like to clarify, I know that there has been some confusion around the use of adaptive reuse. And this does not give more leeway to adaptive reuse by identifying this. What adaptive reuse simply says is to take something old and make it new. We look at churches, hospitals, school buildings. The caveat of the state law, which developers do use, is that more than 50% of a building is being used for housing, then there are certain relief that they get by right as it relates to setbacks, height restrictions. So adaptive reuse doesn't necessarily mean that housing will be the end goal. And so I use the example that, if anyone's ever been at a church that is now a restaurant or a bank or a school that used to be strictly a school, it is adaptive reuse of mixed commercial and residential. It also does not have an affordable housing caveat to it. And I got a lot of questions from constituents, so I wanted to clarify that.
Mr. Rego.
This agency it would create, would it replace the Economic Development Committee?
My recommendation is yes, because it would have the full Rhode Island general law and a local ordinance behind it. It would also have to go to the Rhode Island General Assembly to be recognized as such a government body. Some of the things that are, by the way, it's in your comprehensive plan. There are certain authorities that redevelopment agencies have that are separate and above towns. So they're the only authority that can exercise, for instance, eminent domain.
What is typically, how many members and who are they, what do they consist of?
It depends. I mean, I have seen some small ones that I've worked with on the executive director in Woonsocket, where maybe there's like 5 members. Pawtucket has a fairly robust one of, I believe, 9 members. Providence is huge, obviously, and has subcommittees under the redevelopment agency. And then you have very small ones like the city of Central Falls, which is focused on one very specific part of the city and just on housing.
And how many people do they have?
I think they have 5.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah, and what they normally do is they have separate insurances, separate ability to bond, and a limited capacity, issue bonds, as well as receive bonds. They can receive grants. There are also mechanisms used at the local level that if you wanted to use brownfield revolving loan funds, small business grants as a mechanism to do that.
So this would be a good enhancement for town
Correct.
property.
And I know that sometimes people worry about loss of local control, but it's set forth in any similar ordinance. And it would be appointed by town council.
This sounds great, especially when we, I don't know if the microphone picked it up, is when we look at potential town-owned property.
Correct.
The application in the future would be great.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, of course you can, Mr. Trombley.
This 100,000 is exclusively for planning and organizing, not for the actual work that this work will be doing.
No, this would actually be the kit and caboodle. There's also a set aside to partner with Discover Warren. One of the things that we talked about is looking at piloting a business improvement district, sorry. So what this would do is hire a consulting team, GIS mapping to identify what makes the most sense for the redevelopment area, primarily looking at Main Street down to the harbor on Water Street, and potentially looking at the TOD district, Transit Development District at Metacom, which is what that market to Metacom second piece is. Some cities and towns come back and decide it should be town-wide. I'm not seeing that, the need for that here yet, but until I have the data, then this would create the actual redevelopment plan that would come before council to be codified by local ordinance, and then would go to the General Assembly for approval.
Well, go ahead.
So my hope is that of this 100,000, a vast majority of it, we've done a lot of planning in Warren over the years, a lot of it good, but we've really needed the money to actually go towards starting things. So I hope that a vast amount of this, the vast majority of this will go to starting those programs, investing those monies, and getting things.
Correct. The end goal for this is, and I've already spoken with Senator Felag and Representative Speakman, is to bring this before the House and the Senate for sponsorship as next session.
Thank you.
Great. So you'd probably be looking at the whole downtown business district.
Correct.
Because we don't want anyone to think we're alienating Market Street or Child
Right.
Street.
There are some caveats as it relates to Rhode Island general law. So you look at areas where there are more vacancies, potential slum and blight, non-utilization of properties. And so if you get to a certain part of Child Street, for instance, that may be all residential, but it may stop where the mixed-use commercial is and not include the residential. The data will support that. If you look at the Woonsocket one, you'll see that it's locked in by lot and plot. So there are certain lots and plots that were identified in need of redevelopment with the assistance of the general, with the agency.
And that's also a manufacturing district, as you know. So you're aware of all of this, and I think it's great news. Anything else you'd like to share, Mr. Rego?
Does it emphasize on Lomond census tract areas or
No.
not part of the
No.
equation? Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. No action from the council is needed. Next, we have the town clerk update on real property fraud alert system. So,
Mr. President, I've been working with the town clerk on this.
okay, so we had
This has to go to deal with the fraud of deeds that are filed electronically. I think there was a question that was raised about setting or establishing a program where people would be notified that someone was filing a deed in their name. And if it wasn't them, they would get alert to this. In fact, there was a general law that was passed this session that is going to require all the cities and towns in January of 2028 to have this system in place. But working with the clerk, we discovered that our current software system is in the process of going to give that to us for a no cost. First, we discovered that the cost was going to be like $4,200 a year. But the software that we currently have will allow us to have that at no cost, but we have to wait a few months, 3 or 4 months before it'll be in place. But we are moving towards having the ability for people to sign up for this program.
great, 'cause this was brought to our attention. Ms. Cronin and myself received an email from people who have seen this on 60 Minutes and then started a local investigation and found out that it is something that that people are doing. And it's good to know that the clerk's office has been on top of this. And Mr. Rego has something.
Yeah, I think I brought it to Sandy's attention about a year ago, and I think Barron's been doing it for a while, but I think when we talked back when, there was some issues. Have they overcome those issues? Do you know of? With the whole system?
Now, well, before we have everything like first, everything is the way we'll have it for 2020. We will be, some people think that, I don't know what happened, like where it came in 60 Minutes, and it did happen in other states or whatever. Look, we check every single document. Nothing comes in unless every signature is the original signature. We don't take copies. And that could be a possibility of, that's how things get through. the girls watch every single thing that comes in. So we've been doing this for years, even when Julie was here, and so the same as with Rita also. And a lot of people used to say, oh, somebody can go in there and take my deed and change things. No, they can't. Everything has to be notarized, everything has to be legit, and it has to have a booking page, and it has to be stamped by the town clerk.
But this added protection is a plus.
It is, and because we do have this software, they are already doing it in certain towns already. We are on that list, and she said we should have it by the end of December.
It's now, would the property owner have to sign up for it, or is it automatic?
They would have to sign up for it,
Okay.
they'll just go on and they'll put their own credentials and that's how they will.
Good.
And if somebody's looking at doing anything with it, they'll be able to.
Well, it's good to know because if you watched that 60 Minutes story on it, there have been people in some areas of this country that unfortunately have been victimized by this. So good. Thank you for the update. Next, we have discussion and action regarding the bid for the town clerk's office vault shelving.
One of that one, DuPont's, and that's exactly the company I'd like to go with anyway, because they were the ones that did the previous shelving already.
And this is a budgeted request
It is.
covered. And we have one bid and we motion to go.
Make a motion for $10,160 for shelving in the town clerk's vault.
Correct. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll have a 5-minute interlude. You have to use the restroom. Everybody doesn't have to go home, but they have to go. You're welcome to stay in the hallway. Is there a motion to?
Are we ready to go? I'll make a motion, we come out of executive session and seal the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I will make a motion that we instruct the town manager to proceed as advised in executive session.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.